Okay, I think we are live, everybody. I see we have a lot of people in the chat already, which is very exciting. If this all sounds good, if it's live, if you see us, comment in the chat just so that we know that, it's all good. I hope you're excited. We're all very excited. I want to say hi to people, but there's so many of you. I feel like we'd just be doing it this whole time. So hi, everybody. Okay, thank you, Bavilia. Okay, you could see us. Hello, Magpie. Hello, everybody. Okay, we're live. Wonderful. All right, so let's get started. Welcome to the start of the Worldbuilding Festival, which is a live streamed weekend of world building stuff. We have a ton of creators from across the community that will be presenting on various world building topics, playing world building games, world building live while helping each other out with various projects. But basically, this weekend is a fun celebration of world building in all areas, from speculative geography and mapping to religion and culture and food and economy and music and clothing and constructed languages, and it's going to be a blast. So I have the schedule up here real quick to click through, although you all probably have access to it in various places. Let's see. Well, let me click through. Yes. Okay. So here is today's schedule, the rest of the day with UTC and Eastern Standard Time times. So you can see Group World Building Challenge, which is where you are right now. And then we'll have music building, clothing world building, biology of Pillar World. And then I can't read through my little slide thing, but it should be a mapping, naming things on maps, I believe. And then, Saturday, Sunday, right? It's going to be a fun weekend. If you need to see the rest of the schedule, you can either just look in the playlist, which is linked in the description, or go look on the website, and that should all be fine. Let's see. Yes, following this one directly is Music World Building on Artifactian's channel. And this stream is going to automatically redirect to that one. So if you just stay on this stream, it'll immediately take you over there. So you can just keep it up. Oh, it's actually Eastern Daylight Time, not Eastern Standard Time. Oh, okay, thank you, Kate. I never know the difference. It's Eastern question mark time. I should have just put a question mark instead of... It's fine. Y'all know what I mean. Oh, in Australia. Wow. 1:30 in the morning. Oh gosh. Okay. Where was I? Okay, so quick disclaimer for everyone. All the creators taking part in this whole weekend are doing so for free and for fun, so please just keep that in mind. It is the mantra of the weekend. We are having fun for free. If anything comes up or needs to change, I'll be posting it here on my channel and sending out an email on the Worldbuilding Festival newsletter, which you can sign up for on my website. Link is in the bio, but I think it's going to be good. Apparently, Artifactian is very upset that they're not getting paid. Surprise! Okay, so to get started, we are playing a world building group challenge to kick off the festival. Before I explain the rules, I'm going to have all of my wonderful participants here introduce themselves and can plug their various channels and stuff. So you could probably go in the order that you appear at the top here. So Bib, you want to go first?
Sure. Hello. Good evening. I'm Biblaridion. You can call me Bib for short. And I run a channel of the same name. And mostly I talk about speculative biology and linguistics, including conlanging. And I'm starting to kind of branch out into other stuff. And yeah, I will do my best. Also, I hope that you can't hear there's some sort of feeding frenzy going on outside. There's a very large number of seagulls. So I hope you can't hear that.
Oh my gosh. Miles?
Hi, everybody. I'm Miles. I'm the American half of Let's Have a Bouba. You can find us at Let's Have a Bouba on YouTube, on Patreon, whatever, Insta. Yeah, we kind of do conlanging live. It's me and Jake who will probably speak next. It's a good time. We're kind of small, but it's very tight-knit little channel. Yeah.
Jake?
Hi, I do expect Miles to stop so abruptly. Yeah, I'm the I would say European is opposite of American, but British / Essex, like, is what it is. Anyway, let's have a booba. Tuesdays, conlanging. I don't know what else to say. I'm doing too much this weekend, so you'll get sick of me by the end of it. Bye.
Then Pasta?
All right. I'm Nikolai. I write the Worldbuilding Pasta blog. It's mostly astronomy and geology and climate and that sort of thing, building that. I'll get to spec bio eventually, one of these years. I just branched out into YouTube. I put my first video up. So, hooray, I do exist corporeally, Edgar. I am real.
Huzzah.
Yeah, and I'm Hannahsmth. I have a YouTube channel under the same name, and then I also just do a lot of writing and world building stuff on whatever happens to be interesting me at the time. Interesting to me, anyway. Yeah.
Okay. And then I feel like, well, I guess everyone here isn't necessarily just here because you're familiar with my channel, so I should probably introduce myself too. I'm Madeline James. This is my channel. I'm hosting today, obviously. I'm a fantasy author and world building YouTuber. I make some guides. I do a little bit of light conlanging stuff here. Everyone's stuff is going to be linked on the webpage and is going to be linked in the description of this stream. So if you want to check someone out at some point, you should be able to find all the appropriate links in all of those places. Okay, so let's get on to the challenge. So our participants here are going to be world building a region together, focusing on different parts of the world building. There'll be a number of rounds where I will tell them more things about what has happened in this region, essentially more requirements for them to incorporate into the various bits and bobs that they are doing. And by the end, the goal is to have a somewhat finished project. So let's see, I think I have another slide here. Okay, yeah, that's everybody. All right, so this is what everyone's going to be working on for their projects. So we have Bib is going to be working on like the plants and animals. Was there anything you wanted to add about your plan there, Bib?
I don't think so. Not at this stage. Just ecosystems, biomes, that sort of stuff. Well, partially.
Okay. Miles and Jake are going to be working on naming languages. Did you want to add any more details there?
Yeah, so I'm kind of create the language for just the general kind of common folk, and Jake is going to create the language for the kind of the upper elite or like kind of more learned communities.
Sweet. And then Nikolai is going to be working on climate and geography. Did you want to add anything with that?
I guess I'm just going to try and make sure everything fits together in terms of I'm just keeping track of what everyone else wants to put on here, I suppose, but we'll see what we end up with.
Yeah. And then Hannah has religion and also getting into some of the cultural stuff, which will also tie into some of the other participants too. That'll sort of be spread out. But anything you wanted to add to that, Hannah?
Cults.
Sorry.
Yeah, no, that's all.
Brilliant. Okay. And then for all of you all that are watching, feel free to just like watch for entertainment purposes. If you want to work on something while we're doing this, either with the prompts that we're sort of giving, go for it. If you want to like shout out some suggestions and stuff, that's all good too. Just whatever will be the most fun experience for you. So what we're going to do is our participants will have a couple of minutes to discuss how they're going to approach each round at the beginning, keeping in mind whatever that prompt is for the round. And then they'll be able to get to work. And then while they're getting started, we're going to give them a couple minutes and I'll go through the chat and see if anyone has anything to add, any thoughts, any suggestions, just to kind of let them get started. And then we're going to pop in each of them one at a time, sort of like one of those like cooking shows where they like walk around to each table and are like, so what are you doing? Right. It'll be fun, and then they'll have a few minutes at the end to discuss amongst themselves because everything has to be cohesive and work together, even though they're sort of working separately. Yes. So, does anyone have any questions? Mainly the participants. Do any of you participating in this have any questions?
I think I'm ready to go.
What's the
think
meaning
so.
of life?
Oh gosh.
That
Um,
too off topic.
Ugh.
pastel de natas, the little Portuguese dessert things. That's it.
Mm,
That's
I
it.
accept that as the answer. 42. We have two 42s.
42.
Oh my gosh. Okay. All right. So let's get started with round 1. So the prompt for round 1 is: in our unnamed land, the people are divided into 2 warring factions. They have entered a tentative peace, but tensions are still high. They are recovering from decades of fighting, and the general population is struggling with low food stores and destroyed infrastructure. To top it all off, there is a blight affecting one key crop of one of the factions. So then you may all talk to each other and get on the same page before you get started.
Nice.
All right.
Boy.
So
Cool.
let's get the general vibe of the landscape first, I guess. How funky do we want to go with the whole geography and climate here?
I, for no particular reason, am immediately drawn towards a relatively cold climate. Like
All
not
right.
not like tundra. I'm thinking like a D climate maybe. Like
Yeah.
I was
maybe a
thinking
DS climate.
corn.
We don't see very many of those.
All right.
You're thinking what?
I guess blight to me just sounds very corn heavy, so that could be the crop that just got importantly gutted.
Corn. So cold corn, something like an American
I mean,
Midwest.
if it's cold, it could be rye. I mean, that's like my shorthand. I don't know.
Ooh, that rye sounds better to me.
I mean, or potatoes, of course.
Mm.
Mhm.
Oh no, I don't think that's too
Uh,
recent.
All right.
Sorry to suggest that as a British person. Sorry, Artifactian.
Do we want something more coastal, more in the mountains?
I would say if they're fighting, there probably wants to be some contiguous area they can fight over rather than being split. My other thought is immediately whether we unretcon the elite popular thing and just have each language be, or we just say like the elite of the whatever area we consider the main one is like related to the other one. I don't know if we want to.
you could
We don't have
have-
time for 3 languages.
Yeah.
You could have like one faction, which is like the elites are still on top and they have their like class structure, and then the other one they've sort of overturned in some way.
Mm-hmm.
If that works. That makes sense.
Yeah.
All right. Continental climate. So we want a sort of common area in between.
I was thinking kind of like maybe some sort of like river valley system.
Yeah.
Maybe kind of like there's this kind of flat area where there's the confluence of the rivers, and then the other 2 kind of factions kind of were on either of those rivers and kind of just like met in the middle and trying to war over that confluence.
When we say flat and open, we're talking like not very much forest, right?
We could sort of do a sort of like semi-forested, sort of like on the edge of the forested type of climate, but pretty open.
What should our tick level be?
That's
Good question.
Oh, okay.
Okay.
Tech.
We want cults, we want starvation.
All I need is domestication. So as long as we're beyond that point,
Okay.
I'm fine.
Do we want to go for like pretty early or pretty late? Let's start with like pre-industrial or industrial.
Yeah, once we reach industrial, I kind of lose track. So uh, maybe like before then, but I'm flexible. It's religion. It lasts a long time.
That's true. I think with the warring yields, like what sort of weapons they would have available to them. So would it be more like melee, hand-on-hand combat, like ranged arrows and such, or we going like full kind of like steampunky gun sort of dealio?
Ooh.
If we want to let's stick pre-industrial just to make it easy. But we could do sort of like maybe a little later. Maybe we're sort of like edging our way up towards industrial, and that's causing social overturn. I don't know.
I like that idea though.
All right.
I would like, if possible, beasts of burden to still be a thing.
Yeah.
Like, I don't want them to be completely replaced with mechanization.
Yeah, so we're sort of more, I guess I'm thinking something like 16th, 17th century, where it's like, we're starting to accumulate some basic like manufacturing, but we're still all beasts of burden all the time.
Is that y'all set for this round?
Oh,
Okay.
we do a recap.
Shall I just recap? Yeah.
Yeah.
So a cold sort of continental climate. We got a sort of river valley at the center that they're fighting over. Two major factions who have come to a tentative peace. They're starving. There's a blight that's particularly affecting one of them. We haven't settled on particular crops yet, but we can get there. Something sort of early modern, sort of late pre-industrial, so still a very pre-industrial sort of economy, but maybe with like growing population, some very early kind of basic manufacturing, something like that. We'll figure that out. But
Is anyone writing this down?
I have a very basic list.
I also have a very basic
Yeah,
and
I have
half of
bullet
it
points.
is a summary.
Okay.
I don't know what that is.
Oh, are we sticking with like flat open and or like semi-forested?
How about we have the river valley at the center. We have sort of a big open area at the center, and then we can have hills with smaller valleys around the edges of that leading into it. So then we can kind of have the best of both worlds. Maybe not totally ringing the whole area, but something like that.
So like some alpine forests.
Yeah.
Very good.
Nice, my favorite one.
Okay. Okay. All right. So you all can get to work, and I'm going to scroll through the chat. And if anything pops up that's like relevant to you, feel free to chime in. But I scrolled back up to when we read the prompt, and I'm going to kind of read through some of them, although we have a lot of chat. But y'all get started. So I think the first one I'm going to read. So Artifexian is worried about our licorice crops. Apparently a licorice crop blight. It's going to be a disaster. Food stores just stood up and walked away. It's so sad. Whole Foods left. We have some fun jokes on that. Let's see. The meaning of life is to attain health, to make your own meaning.
That's a good one.
People are sad about rye whiskey.
Oh.
Apparently, Bib looks like Jazz Ghost. I don't know who that is. A Brazilian YouTuber.
Oh, I'll take that as a compliment.
It's very specific.
Maybe.
Let's see. Someone had an idea that maybe there's rich areas that have geothermal activity / are warmer, like Then from A Song of Ice and Fire. Let's see.
Yes. I'm sure we're that cool that would... Whatever.
Someone is looking for good world building resources or general advice to recommend, especially regarding gods, religions, magic systems, and or races. I feel like that's in categories that is slightly less what all of us talk about, because my initial thing was to say check out our links in the bio, but there's definitely a lot less of the fantastical stuff, I feel like. I've talked a little bit about magic systems, but definitely not enough to be like a recommended resource. So, I mean, if people in chat have suggestions or recommendations, definitely throw those in there. Let's see. The possibilities of this prompt are actually surprisingly diverse, to be honest. That was my goal, was to try to set stuff up that could be taken in a lot of different directions, just to kind of allow for more creativity. Let's see. Someone thinks that we're going French Revolution versus Great Britain. Let's see. Maybe these areas got ripped apart during the war, taking out a disproportionate amount of the food production. Yes. Let's see. Someone says, could be two dialects of the same language. It's a religious war between two denominations of the same religion. That's one idea from Nemo. Okay, Bavilia wants to know what scale of land we are looking at.
That's a good question. What sort of transitional? A big valley. I feel like just throwing out like vaguely France size, just because that's comfortable.
Yeah, sounds pretty reasonable.
Someone said French Revolution.
Smaller than
These-
Doggerland, bigger than France.
So these factions are like proper, like kingdom level. These aren't just like villages.
Oh, good point.
I mean, it doesn't actually affect me very much, but
I mean, I guess for like the sort of tech level we're talking about, I feel like that's kind of implicitly, because there were just a couple villages. It would be weird to have a blight that specifically affected one of them worse.
true.
I think based on kind of the note that I've been taking, little kind of the brainstorm, it's starting to kind of become a little more centralized as a society, I guess. So I'm kind of thinking a lot like conscription.
Yeah.
So kind of coming on the level of like something kind of at a larger hand or a larger hierarchy, maybe is pushing, say, like younger people into this war, and kind of like I guess the higher governments are so.
Cool. Okay, what else do we got? Someone said maybe the key crop isn't food, but something like flax, so it damages the faction's industry/economy and chance to recover. That would be a approach too. Let's see. Trying to catch up. What are the base assumptions? Humans, Earth-like planet? Yeah, I think we're working with a basic like Earth-like planet with regular Earth humans.
For what it's worth, I don't think I'm going to go too crazy in terms of like spec bio stuff. I'm not going to invent any brand new clades.
Yeah.
Aw.
I mean, I
Sorry.
can if you want me to.
Okay. Let's see. If it's the dawn of industrialization, then there's also the important question of which faction is more industrial. That's true. Let's see. Someone's wondering how the governments will work, so that'll be something we'll have to think about.
We don't have someone covering that. It's just religion.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah.
Maybe the
could do
religion
that.
is the government.
Oh.
And that's never gone wrong, ever.
Okay, Magpie is proposing a big glacial lake.
Glacial lake, as in like left by glaciers or next to a glacier.
It says big glacial lake. I have no idea.
I
Interpret how you please.
I'm sketching things out. I did kind of put a big lake at the center just because I thought that would be interesting. So
I like that idea. I was going to say a very similar thing, kind of make that confluence more of a lake and kind of have a little like boat vibes.
yeah.
The Navy.
Let's see. I feel like there's so many good comments, but there's so many comments. I want to get to checking in with people soon. What are good things to scrolling through? Someone had a couple of fun ideas for late game prompts.
Nice.
Okay. Theocracy could be. Praise the sun.
Praise the sun.
Magpie was thinking a glacial lake left by glaciers, like the Great Lakes. And the big lake enables naval battles, maybe.
All right.
I think we're kind of getting into a similar page here.
Maybe there could be a mini ice age at the time as well that exasperates the situation further. Who knows? Persian-style satraps? Not entirely sure what that is. Very good.
It's a sort of, I think it was a sort of subdivision of how they governed. I don't know the details.
Fair. Okay, so I think we're going to start checking in with everyone. So I think we're going to go in order along the top. So we'll start with Bib, if you're ready.
Oh, am I going first, or is Nikolai going first?
Nikolai can go first. That's fine, too. Oh, wait, yeah, it is Nick. It was going to be Nikolai. Okay, wait. That is the order I had. Okay, wait. To not confuse me, I'm going to reorder you at the top.
All right.
So we'll have.
I'll be honest, I was a bit confused why the order for this check-ins were different to our introduction order. But anyway.
I don't know what to tell you.
Well,
Okay, so Nikolai, let me share your screen.
All right.
And if you want to update us on what you're working on, what you got going.
Yeah, so I'm kind of just sketching things out at the moment. So that's our basic vibe. We've got sort of one main river going through with a sort of series of lakes with mountains mostly to the north and west, to remember directions. And then there's sort of the ocean at the edge there. So like there can be some element of like trade with an outside world that's maybe complicating matters, or one there each side is trying to like monopolize control of that maybe. So yeah, just sort of sketching it out at the moment because I'm thinking, because we got 3 hours to play with here, I might try and do some like basic erosion modeling on this and then get like a full proper height map, which might be kind of nice to show off. But so I'm just trying to sketch in like where the big mountainous areas and the major lowlands and rivers, and then I sort of have to go into grayscale, add details there, and then we'll just kind of see how that turns out. But that's where I'm at the moment. Anyone got any specific features they want me to throw in? Any little valleys for cults?
How seasonal is this whole area?
Huh?
How extreme is the seasonal variation here?
All right. We're not too far for the ocean, but that can be changed. But if we're going continental, I'm thinking like, I was thinking before was like the American Midwest. So if I hold on, we go like Minneapolis. The sort of general vibe here. Where's the climate? So say, okay, how do I read these? So yeah, so that's like -10, -5 in winter to like 20 to 30 in summer.
Cool. So there are definitely distinct seasons.
Oh yeah, I mean, if you want continental, that's sort of
the
definition. But then because we've got a lot of sort of terrain range at the end, we maybe want some. I want to throw in some glaciers at the edges here. You can have like fairly cold highlands. You can have sort of that whole range of like comfortable-ish continental lowlands, and then sort of subpolar, and then like tundra highlands, I think would be kind of the range we could throw in here.
Cool.
I think happy with this for now.
So, what did you say earlier about cults? Asking for a friend.
Well, we've got like a lot of mountains with a little river
Mhm.
valley, so you could have like nice little valleys for like cults to live in. Have their little
Little cave temple.
nice little longhouses. You know,
We do have a suggestion from the chat of a cult island in the middle of a lake.
Ooh.
Not in the
Might be
main lake,
interesting.
though. They'll be
Maybe in the
colonized
side
immediately.
On the main.
Yeah,
I
like that little
just throw
dude.
like a lake up in like the highlands here.
Ooh.
Then they can be kind of nestled up in there.
Cool.
Little islands.
Okay.
Well, I can
Well,
throw
while
this
you're
in.
adding that in, should we move on to Bib?
You can if you like.
Okay. Let's see if I can get this going. There we go. All right, Bib, what you up to?
Are you seeing my notes properly? They're in a
Yeah.
kind of strange fashion, but so I'm just trying to think big
Ooh.
picture at first. But what immediately came to mind was camels, because camels these days, most people think of camels as being very like when you think of camels, you think of the desert, but camels used to be a hell of a lot more diverse, and they originally evolved in rainforests, and then they spent some time in the tundra. So there were definitely cold adapted camels, and especially if this isn't like a freezing Arctic tundra year round, there could be quite a variety of camels that, for whatever reason, in this world just won out over like bovids and the more typical ungulates that we have in our world. And I was thinking, I still don't know. I think I might want to throw another clade of charismatic herbivores in there, but among the camelids, you have things like Apicamelus, which was a real genus of camels that is essentially like the camel equivalent of a giraffe. It's just very tall and has a really long neck to reach up into the trees. Whereas in place of things like antelope, we could have things like animals that would be more or less recognizable to camels that we have in our world, but also things like, llamas, vicuñas, guanacos, those sorts of things. And some of them could have winter adaptations, grow thick coats during the winter, stuff like that. And they could be the primary beasts of burden, mounts, etc. And then for predators, I was thinking hyenas, because hyenas, again, these days there are only 4 living species of hyenids, but they used to be much more diverse in the past. And in particular, there's a radiation that's sometimes called the dog-like hyenas, because they were quite like dogs in the sense that modern hyenas are mostly like scavengers and durophages that just sort of pick over what the larger carnivores leave over. And that's not entirely true. That's a simplification. But still, the dog-like hyenas were like fast-running, gracile, much more in line with predators like dogs these days. So I was thinking in place of dogs, they could have hyenas and maybe domesticate the hyenas, have, hyenas in place of dogs, domesticated dogs. And then the only other idea I had at the moment was just, since we've mentioned there is a coast, maybe do something with seals, but haven't given that much thought yet.
So there's some thoughts in the chat. Bavilia says rainforest camels are a terrifying prospect. Someone says maybe llamas could be interesting.
Snow llamas.
Yeah, cold weather. Camels are pretty historically important in the Silk Route. See, mammoths. There's some ideas for mammoths. Aardwolf cousins? I'm not entirely sure what that is.
Yeah, an aardwolf is it's one of the 4 extant species of hyenids today, but it's not particularly closely related to the true hyenas, I guess.
Okay.
But yeah, we can totally have some aardwolf-like things.
Let's see, freshwater lake seals would be cool. AP camels look crazy. Apparently, Artifexian once hugged a vicuña.
Oh,
Yeah.
Let's see. Okay,
Very
I
good.
think that's most of the slamas, war llamas. Okay, raccoons. Okay, I think that's we can move on.
That's a good shout. Actually, I'm gonna.
Okay, so then are we ready to move to Hannah? Are you ready?
Wait, no, let me scribble something down real quick.
Okay. Bib, as a former paleontology kid, I love your mind.
Oh,
Yes to
thank you.
raccoons. Gotta be mammoths Hannibal style. Let's see. People saying the blight could have a religious side as a divine punishment. Camelids replacing horses would be cool.
Yeah, that's what I was thinking.
Mm-hmm. All right, just let me know when you're ready, Hannah.
I am ready.
Okay. We'll remove that, and we'll pop up Hannah. All right.
Okay, so not much here yet. Right, so there was once an original religion, and it was fine, and I haven't done any fleshing out of what it actually was. And then, of course, there was a schism, and it was something between a religious war and a class war. And you got the upper, which is consisting of the old empire. It's a little bit shattered. It's a lot weaker than it used to be, but it still owns most of the land and most of the crops, and it still very much believes in like the old rule, which has a lot of class disparity. I was obviously thinking of the French Revolution at some point, but we can maybe see if we can differentiate it a little bit from that. The upper doctrine still very much believes in a theocracy, but in a very specific theocracy that supports the old upper doctrine. And then you get the lower, which is consisting of the lower class, the workers. They have a lot of the numbers. They do not have a lot of the land, because all the land that's surrounding them. Actually, I can't actually say that for sure because that's not my area. But yeah, so don't have most of the land, at least around the river, which I imagine would be the easiest to grow around. Yes, I don't know.
Yeah.
Right, and yeah, so no kings, equality, but they still support a form of theocracy because in their eyes, I did kind of lean very heavily into the culture for this actual part. I need to get more into the religion. And I do think it would be very cool for the Blight to be at least perceived as something of like a punishment, but it could be perceived very differently from both sides. So you could have like the old empire being like, haha, it's because things are not the way they are supposed to be. This is not the divine, way it should be. And then for the lower doctrine, it could be more because I don't know. I still have to think about it. Maybe it's because they're upsetting things, or maybe it's an attack from the upper regime, which would be pretty cool.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know. I'm still thinking. I would like it if the camelid beast could be a symbol of the lower group. I think that would be cool. It's a working animal. Maybe. I don't know. I'm making headcanons here. You can stop me whenever.
That's cool. That makes sense.
And then Cult 1 lives on an island up in the mountains. I'm still working on them.
I like it.
It rejects the conflict entirely. Embraces communal living.
Mm-hmm.
They're essentially just hippies.
Hippie cult.
Yeah, there probably will be a lot more like splintering across the overall landscape as well, just because there's probably going to be a lot more cults. Of course, there has to be. Cool.
Okay. So then, I guess Miles, you're next. Are you ready?
Yeah, I'm ready if you are.
Okay.
So I have my little work area here.
I'm just gonna pop off for 2 secs because the Coke bottle I saved for this exploded on me. But
Oh no!
Oh no! Oh no! Okay.
So most of this is just like the notes that I took. I'll make this like whatever. I kind of wanted to kind of go a little more on the militant route. So what I did was I kind of did a little world building. So at least for my little faction, they're going to be kind of very highly militant. They're going to kind of like, I'm imagining kind of Sparta. I'm imagining them kind of like having like training programs. I guess kind of there, kind of like I don't want to say kind of like boxing or like MMA kind of in some like third world areas. But kind of like imagining something of that, kind of like the rubble gym, if you will. So from 19 to 24, they're going to have a mandatory conscription. I don't know how long this war has been going. I think I imagine it kind of a little more lengthily than maybe other people have. I imagine it's kind of a lot like ongoing sort of like rebel sort of deal. And then I had this first, so I wanted to kind of culturally build in just some words, kind of stratifying the society a little bit. So the younger people, men and women, will be the ones who are conscripted, and then the older people are the ones that are going to kind of stay at home with the kids and just kind of till the land, keep what's kind of going on and such. I've only gotten to nouns now, so I kind of have just some like general little words. I have some verbs like kind of here that are definitely very kind of like battle driven. Battleborn Nevada, and I got some blight affected plants that I would probably create some words to, some boats, some weapons of some sort, something to start like a fire with and smelt them into shape. I might add like hammer or something here to kind of like imagine that how they're going to kind of forge these weapons. But I'm glad that the camels kind of brought up, because I was kind of thinking of a way to, it sounds so terrible, like to dehumanize the enemy. So kind of like mapping on like an animal term to like make them, I guess, less human in the eyes of these societies and easier to kind of kill off. It sounds so horrible, but it is real. So that's kind of where my head is at.
Mm-hmm.
And then I just need kind of flesh out more sentences, languages, and all that good stuff. Well, it's only one language, but more words, I guess.
Okay, we have a couple thoughts in the chat. Let's see, those are for the last bit. People are commenting on your retroflexes.
Yeah.
Some people are very happy that David is asleep and cannot complain about them.
I will scroll up for everybody because I feel like I just kind of went through like what I was just doing now. I create a little proto-phonology here. This is the inventory that I have. I'll kind of just go a little slow so you can kind of just vibe with it so I don't have to, I guess, stop and go. Here's some vowels. I have a syllable structure here that I'm kind of adhering to, and then I'll kind of pause like here-ish. You will kind of get that perusal going. Mm-hmm. But I would infer that I'm going to share this out to people so they can kind of see what's up and preview this as they will once we finish here.
Mm-hmm. And Bavilia mentioned we could have a tradition of social corvée labor that militarized into mass conscription over time. Let's see. Okay. Yeah. Okay. I think we can move on to Jake if you're ready. Jake?
I feel like I've done a lot less than Miles. So I hadn't finished vowels yet. I decided, like, having seen what Miles is doing, I've gone very initial heavy. If I make this screen wider, I can get it all on, hopefully. So I decided to go with obligatory onsets and just kind of lean into like the mess of not having to like do diachrony, basically. And I've just been testing some forms because like I feel like I need to like write down everything everyone's made so I can start coining words. I've been using a romanization because clicks are hard. So if people want me to like read anything, I'll check the comments. But yeah, I'm doing clicks.
Oh boy.
I know I kind of stole the idea from Bib. I know he's wanted to do a prestige language with clicks for a long time.
Wow.
I see.
But it's a good idea, so I'll borrow it, and there can be all the prestige languages with clicks. So yeah,
Atlas in the time of war.
And I thought it would be like a good thing where like they can prioritize, like if you can say the clicks, then they know that you're part of this elite. Whereas if you can't, then you'd be like on the outside of it. So it's kind of a sleeper left, if you will. I don't know if clicks really don't pick up that well on microphones. And I'm
Yeah, I did not hear a click there.
Them. But anyway, yeah.
Okay. So then let's see. Let's take that down. Let's put this back up for a second. Someone's wondering if the two factions have different language families, would they be different cultures?
Not necessarily. The alignment of language and culture is not like a strict one-to-one ever, really. So it's entirely possible if you have two languages from different families that have been in contact for so long that they would form a singular culture. But they would obviously have to have by nature different linguistic traditions.
Okay. So is there anything else anyone wants to talk amongst yourselves about real quick before we go on to the next round?
Do we have like a name for this region?
Do you want to pick one of the words I've generated? At the moment, I've got shashi, ngachi, tuchi, au, utui, ani, kungu, kanpa, kappa, and niku.
I think there was the third or fourth one, like oh, I can't do my clicks very well.
Yeah, au. I think au is good. If everyone's okay trying to pronounce au.
Sure.
Yeah.
It's the lateral click.
Au?
It's like calling a horse. Au.
No.
But it's prenasalized.
No.
This is Jake teaches a whole bunch of people who didn't know how to pronounce. And yeah, it's nasal, but just get the vocal cords vibrating and you'll be close enough because there's no distinction.
If the clicks are a class distinction, what would the, I guess, non-high class people call it then?
It would probably be something like ngao.
No. Yeah.
Does your language have a glottal stop, Miles?
The closest thing to a glottal stop there is a K.
Well, or do they have diphthongs?
The closest thing I could think it would be is now, which it would be like N-A little velar approximate dude U.
How are you romanizing that?
It's a great question. I have not decided that. Let's.
We can circle back around to it.
Yeah. We'll circle back.
Okay.
Okay, I'll put it in IPA for you, but yeah, it'd be something like Nawu.
Yeah, no.
Okay, so right, so now that we've established that, anything else? Are we ready for round 2?
Round.
Oh yeah, more stuff happens.
Woo, round 2.
Yes. Okay. All right, so we're gonna go on to round 2. I feel like we've done a lot so far. This is definitely going someplace. I hope I don't ruin it. So round 2, the
The
prompt
entire
is going.
continent sinks into the ocean and they all die.
Unfortunate.
Yeah, the world equivalent
On
of
to
rock
the sea
everyone dies. Okay. So round 2, within living memory, a catastrophe has reshaped the land. So it could be an earthquake, an eruption, a tsunami, whichever is more climate appropriate. So I guess Nikolai can chime in on what that will end up being. But the people live in fear of this happening again. So there are a number of myths, legends, and prophecies tied to this event.
I know something for me immediately came up, but I'm a strong sender, so I don't want to like influence other people. But I want to see what other people think.
I have an idea.
Okay.
Have you ever heard of like a sort of glacial dam bursting outflow flow? It's sort of like when glaciers are sort of melting at the tail end of an ice age, you can get like large amounts of water trapped behind a sort of large mass of ice, essentially acting as a dam, which then eventually fails and then floods the entire downstream region.
Oh, like an Ice Age 2.
Sorry. Oh, the movie, yeah.
Been a while, but
yeah, a lot of people say that sort of thing contributed, or is one of the possible things that contributed to like the Grand Canyon in the States.
Maybe. I'm not sure about the Grand Canyon. There's an area further north in like Idaho in Washington that I think has a lot of like weird features from that.
Wasn't
Yeah.
it the largest like flood in history? Question mark? Or like on land or freshwater flood, something like that.
I guess it depends what counts. Something like that.
Yeah. It's practically like saying a fact when you just assume.
Okay. Do you all have anything else to discuss in the planning portion of this round?
Well, if we go with this glacial dam bursting idea, I don't know enough about this too. So there's a period where when the dam bursts, does that lead to like a any kind of biogeographic barrier between? Is it like the lowlands are flooded for a while and the highlands are like above the water level?
It would be sort of more like sudden catastrophic. It's like basically just a giant wave washes down through all the valleys below. In terms of biogeography, I guess it might be associated with like periods of like warming and glacial retreat. So that's part of it. And it might also like kind of reorganize a lot of the river systems to an extent.
Interesting.
I guess that's sort of the geography element of it. His question is what it does to the societies.
If it's like a glacial dam outburst, it's going to be a one and done thing. So they would be, I mean, I'm just spitballing here, but like if it's a one and done sort of disaster, it's never going to happen again. So they would live in this fear of it happening again with the hopes, with it kind of having these unrealized expectations. So I think that could be helpful for like the, I guess like the religion aspect, I kind of like discordance of it as like dramatic irony.
Any other thoughts with that, or are people ready to get to work?
Yeah.
I'm good
Okay.
to go.
Okay, let me scroll through the chat real quick. I feel like there's less for this one. Yes, but yeah, people are saying like the Scablands.
Oh, I have a question for Hannah.
Yeah.
So if the elite group is like a theocracy, do you have any ideas for how like they established themselves, or are they just like divine?
Well, you could say when they first developed. I'm forgetting all my terminology. Oh no, this is a very common occurrence.
Relatable.
Just go with it. We can try and fill in if you need it.
Okay, so what was it? When cultures typically converge into large groups, please tell me if you actually do know the terminology.
I don't.
They they often converge and grow into a larger society around a charismatic leader, and then that charismatic first the leader could have also promoted his or her specific religion, and then that could have been sort of the building block around the entire society as it grew, in which case they would sort of associate religion with the order of rule, where the religious leaders would also be the actual societal leaders. Does that make sense? Did I actually answer the question? I got lost a bit.
No, I think I can work with that, because I now need to like work out where that all comes from.
No,
So,
understandable.
Yeah.
Yeah. So it's like there is no separation of church and state. It's all one thing. Theocracy.
Cool.
Okay, I'm gonna scroll through the chat. We have a couple things. Some people are saying that you could have some repeated glacial outburst flooding if a glacier could just slide and advance back into the river and block it again. The one in Washington reoccurred many times, so there could be it could repeat.
Okay, could repeat.
I bet that chill cult
could vary a lot.
Sorry, say that again.
The time scale of how often it could repeat can vary a lot, so that's something we can sort of play with if we want to.
Okay. We have a funny comment. I'd bet that chill cult in the mountains feels pretty good right now. And then someone's asking if the gods are real, not real, or if it's an open question. So I assume that means if they have physical presence on the world.
Ooh, good question. I mean, I've kind of been operating as if they aren't, but I mean, if we want them to.
I guess people are also asking if there are multiple gods or just one, and if there would be a god associated with the flood.
Polytheism, and yes.
Okay. All right. If anyone else has any thoughts, suggestions, ideas, throw them out. I want to give everyone a few more minutes before we start checking in. Let's see. If a population lives on a plain that is below sea level, it will very easily suffer from flooding and consequent swamping, both from fresh water and salt water.
And when we say that these glacial outbursts are correlated with warming events, how warm are we talking? Is that enough to like change the climate type?
Well, the examples I'm going from were sort of like at the tail end of like the last glacial maximum. So going from like the depths of the ice age to like our pre-industrial climate, like somewhere in the middle of that would be, I guess, the idea.
Someone wants to know if they eat fish.
Big legs.
Mm-hmm.
Probably.
Let's see. Okay, I think that's all the comments we have right now. I mean, are you ready, Nikolai, for us to jump in with you real quick, or do you need a little longer?
I think I can talk about how the process I'm doing works here.
Okay, let me pull you up. There you go.
Okay. Let me go over this a bit. So I started off with my sketch here of generally how we want the region to look, and then I went into sort of converted that to a grayscale map. So it's the wider it is, the higher it is, and then sort of just mussed that up a whole bunch to sort of create something more continuous, try and carve in some valleys here. There's, if you have smudge tools on your thing, that's something I like to use a lot, where you just sort of try and give it a lot of detail, bigger stuff like that. And then once that's kind of, you're vaguely starting to see how it turns out, I pulled it into Wilbur, which is this free erosion program you can work with. And then it's this sort of process of using different processes of erosion to try and sort of create these river valleys, which is basically what most terrain you see around the world is, basically just different types of scales of river valleys all overlapping with each other. So you see, so it's starting to look a lot more natural here, but we need more lakes, we need more rivers. So at this point it's probably going back and forth a little bit between here and grayscale to try and just sort of use a combination of the features the erosion kind of brings out, and then trying to adjust things on our own to make it turn out how we want. So you've got kind of the overall vibe. We've got the big lake and the rivers in the center, and then I've tried to get these nice broad glacial valleys here. Maybe this is a nice big valley. Maybe that's where our floods are coming from. Although if we wanted to affect the whole area, it should probably come from up here somewhere. And then, actually, Hannah, what if there was a cult that worshipped the glacier?
Yes.
And then the
they're
flood
having
came,
a terrible time.
and they're our god has cursed all the lowlanders.
Doomsday cult. They've prepared the land for us.
All right. So yeah, let's have a nice big glacier up here that'll do that. And then that's sort of our long river valley here. So yeah, I'll keep working on this and then at some point I'm gonna want to sort of try and settle on a final terrain, and then try and get a better sense of maybe the cultural or political geography of these two factions here.
That'll be good. We have a few fun comments. First, people are very impressed with both your tooling here and also just your general speed of working. I think you are just generally blowing minds at the moment, Nikolai. So
it takes practice, but
yeah,
once you know what you're doing.
Let's see. Okay. People are very excited about the glacier cult. I'm also very excited about the glacier cult. Light ceremonial fire at the base to help it melt. Okay. Yes, they do have it pretty rough right now. Someone's like, what about all the good stuff? What good stuff do these people have going on for them?
A thriving art industry.
I don't know.
Okay.
Maybe
so
they
are
paint their
you...
camels exciting colors.
Yeah.
Yeah, they got lots of camels.
Okay. Someone's asking what tools you're using. Worldbuilding Pasta, which I mean, you said it was Wilbur, and you're using Paint and Wilbur right now, right?
I use Paint.net for like the initial sketch. I go to GIMP, which kind of has better tools for kind of working with grayscale and better sort of control over like image mode and that sort of things. And then Wilbur, which if you like Google Wilbur erosion, you should find it, is the sort of eroding tool that I'm using here, which it takes a bit getting used to, but maybe at some point I'll do a separate stream just going over this process.
Mm-hmm. Okay. Let me take you down. And then, Bib, are you ready?
Just give me 1 second to just check something very quickly.
No worries. Someone does say, would it be plausible that the massive flood, eroded and deposited to put a lot of minerals into the soil, making it very fertile temporarily, which is now running out, helping to cause the crop failure?
Maybe. That's a good question. There is like in the middle of the US, there's a lot of this sort of wind-blown soil that sort of came off of the sort of till deposit by the glaciers, which is sort of helped contribute to the fertility of the Mississippi Valley a bit. I'm not sure Temperubi, but if you have a lot of flood waters, because like even after the like initial flood, you're gonna have some like weird hydrology and river flow for a while. So I could see it.
Okay. Someone says that what these people have going for them is that the camels are really soft to pet.
That is
True.
That's
This
all
is
you need.
definitely true.
Okay. We're asking about food and cooking. Yeah, that might be out of context a little bit for now. Mountain camels.
Yeah, we will definitely have mountain camels.
Okay. So should we go to Hannah next, or?
Oh no, I'm good to go. I've checked the thing I needed to check.
Okay. So your shared screen disappeared. Let me
Oh,
remove.
good.
Let me remove my presentation real quick. So hopefully you can add that back in.
How about that?
Yes. Okay. Adding it to screen. There we go.
Okay. So I'm kind of all over the place. I'm just sort of writing down whatever comes to my mind. So first of all, in terms of the large herbivores, I was thinking of maybe including primates, because you don't really see very many cold-adapted primates, with the marginal exception of the Japanese macaque. But if in like some of the alpine forests, you could get like big like snow apes, so my first thought was like Gigantopithecus, which is famously this very, very large species of primate that lived in Asia like 2 or 3 million years ago, I think. But I was also thinking along the lines of Archaeoindris, which is this giant sloth lemur that lived in Madagascar up until quite recently. And yeah, if you imagine like a lemur the size and build of a gorilla, it's basically what you'd get. So maybe big snow apes in the forest, maybe. Still need to play around with that a bit more. And then whoever suggested raccoons, that was very good. I do like the idea of procyonids, raccoons and their allies being quite diverse in this area. I do love coatis. They are quite wonderful animals. And then I was thinking, I don't actually think I'd be able to justify this specifically, but there is a species of procyanid called Chapel Melania, which is basically a raccoon the size of a bear. When North America and South America were just beginning to collide, well, actually just before the collision, a species of raccoon managed to raft over to South America and evolved into this big bear thing. So there could be like big bear-like raccoons knocking around. Who knows? But then I realized at some point I should probably actually think about crops, since that was part of the prompt originally. So I wrote down Hannah's idea that they have rye, and then I did a little bit of looking up, and apparently alpine foxtails grow very large roots, or tubers rather. And so I was thinking maybe those could be domesticated and undergo like a sort of parallel process to what happened with potatoes. So they have like potatoes that aren't actually potatoes. Also flax, and recently for the conlang that I'm currently working on, I also have a culture that's living in a fairly cold climate. And long story, but I was looking for a type of berry that would exist in this environment, and someone in the comments suggested crowberries, so I just threw those in. They might have crowberries. Also, someone suggested mammoths at some point, and so I think maybe I would be concerned at that point that we have too many large herbivores knocking around. Generally, we'd expect one group to kind of dominate, so I was thinking maybe the mammoths could be like on the decline, like there's only a few species left. And also maybe not just mammoths, but gomphotheres as well, which is another type of very large elephantine animal. And then the discussion of rivers and lakes, I started thinking about types of fish. And looking it up, apparently, I didn't know this, but apparently the family Cyprinidae, the carps and minnows, is the single most diverse order of all vertebrates. Not order, family. I did not know that. And I was thinking maybe they could have some crustaceans, like some isopods and some amphipods, big aquatic wood lice type things. And maybe those could be a delicacy.
Ooh.
And I think that's everything I had at this point.
Okay. So the chat is, well, okay, first I have a joke that I thought of. You said giant raccoons, and my first thought is, okay, instead of trash pandas, they're dumpster pandas. So they're
Indeed.
bigger. Also, the chat was chanting Yeti. And thinks
I'm
they're
not
also,
opposed.
yeah. Needs for cryptids. And then, let's see. A deer that uses its horns to hunt meat. Let's see. What about Typha, a type of cattail?
Oh.
I do not know about Typha. I will look that up.
Okay. And then we have, you were talking about primates earlier. Snub-nosed monkeys seem to me to be ideal for an alpine landscape since they live in the Himalayas.
I was actually thinking of the snub-nosed monkey. I was picturing, like, if you imagine a snub-nosed monkey comes down from the trees and, like, partially adapts to terrestriality and becomes, like, a big sort of orangutan type thing. That's kind of what I was picturing.
Okay. Yeah. Okay, I think those are the comments there. So then I think we could move on to Hannah if you're ready.
Yes, I am.
Okay.
Okay.
Here we go. All right.
So a lot has happened.
Oh my gosh.
Okay. So let's start small. Let's revisit Cult 1. So the flood happened. They didn't really hear about it. It was kind of something that didn't matter. I think they were too high of an altitude for it to bother them, right? Mayhaps. But then at the same time, they also follow a small river deity, which is kind of not quite part of the official pantheon, but is a local god of the area, specifically that like this Cult 1 dedicates themselves to. Cults 2 through 15 are bandits. The gods have abandoned us, and so have our morals. Everything is terrible. Nothing's ever going to get better. We don't care anymore. We're just going to take what we want when we want it. And so far, that philosophy has worked out great for them. They're constantly moving because they can't stay in one place for too long because they've got too many enemies. They're constantly drifting apart or splitting or merging or infighting. Their leaders never last very long. They are very unstable. Cult 16 is the glacier cult.
Yeah.
Yeah. The lands below are evil and vile and cursed to their fate. They burn bonfires regularly to melt it faster, but their actual home is in an ice cave. So I don't really know what their long-term plan is for that, but they haven't really thought of it yet. So, and they worship two dual gods, fire and ice. They're two main elements that they really like the most. Okay, Cult 17 we'll talk about later when I've written more down. And then we've got the official pantheon, the official gods. You have two gods of harvest, the one for the upper party and the one for the lower party. The god of harvest for the upper party is characterized as the perfect worker / peasant. So they're very passive. They're very they're not very violent. They are, they give from the goodness of their heart while expecting absolutely nothing in return. And this is kind of used as also a form of kind of propaganda for the people who still follow the official doctrine, because, hey, this is what you should be emulating in order to live the best life possible and make it into whatever afterlife comes next, which is why I've also kind of written out that they have a very large caste in the official doctrine of monks, essentially, who till the land, they work the soil, their entire lives are dedicated to just like very asking for nothing, very passive farmer lifestyles. And they essentially work for free because they're getting rewarded in good religion points. And the reason that they believe that the blight happened is because there are too many heathens, thanks to the schism, and all those nasty other people, the enemy. And if they would just come back into the fold and follow the official religion again, there would be enough people for this harvest god to work through in order to make everything better again. And there would be a time of beauty and wealth and good harvest, and there would never nothing would ever go wrong ever again. And then, okay, this is very half thought out. I haven't gotten there quite yet, but I think it would be cool if in their official doctrine, they have now merged. I don't know how long this actually takes, so I could be kind of like skewing the timeline a little bit, but if they sort of had a bit of a merge between the god of death and the god of the sea, or rather the god of the sea into the god of the death, since I think sea would maybe be a bit too much. Not water, not sea, just like water. So I should cross that out. There we go. Yeah, no, and so give it a little bit more of a sort of evil villain sort of nature to it. And it's just they associate the water with death now, which is great. Yeah, and then on the other side, we have the lower group. And their god of harvest, because they were the ones who did actually do most of the work, their god of harvest is now the same god, but has now been given a subcategorization as a war god. And the blight itself is an attack from the other side on her, as she is also part of the war. And then for them, the god of water again, has now given it the associations of like water is icy, water is heartless. And yeah, so it's recently become vilified. So it wasn't always the case. They used to just have a very ordinary god of water for like the fishermen and that. But recently, because of its vilification through the flood, all of the statues that existed before it have been defiled. So they have broken parts of its body, parts of its face, to make it unrecognizable. And the name is, and this is veering a little bit into language now, the name is now slow. I thought that would be fun. Yeah, right. And then offshoot of the god of water is now there is sort of a demon of ice and snow. And depending on which area you're in, it's the same god or a different god. And I've written down demon because it's not a god in the same way that the others are. It's pure evil. It's not worshipped. And that is assumed by this group to be the god that Cult 16 worships. And so it's bad and evil, and it's worshipped by these mad cult people up in the mountain, and it's not a good thing. It would be very bad if they got into contact with one another, which would also be pretty interesting because I feel like if they met Cult 1, they would assume that their river god is the same thing, and then that would also be very bad. It's wartime. No one's really thinking straight. Yeah, that's pretty much all I got so far.
Let me scroll through some of the comments. We have someone who said, what if you had a cult that spun off the Gods Have Abandoned Us cult that tries to get the gods to return? Let's see.
Ooh. That'd be cool.
The gods have abandoned us. Time to build our own gods. We'll make a really big tower and something that I can't see. It looks like Greek.
The Tower of Babel.
Oh, yeah. There we go. That would do it.
Mm-mm.
Let's see. Would they have dietary restrictions? This is very epic.
Yay. I just think so.
Liking the water death god emerging implies some fun things for funerary traditions.
Ooh. That's really cool, yeah.
Mm-hmm.
I'm just gonna write that down real quick.
Yeah. People are very into the harvest and war god combination, that it is metal/scary.
Nice.
Let's see. No. Okay. I feel like that's probably okay. Okay, so then are you ready, Miles?
Give me like 17 seconds.
Okay,
Yeah.
during those 17 seconds, I'll read a couple more comments. Where were we? Would the gods have stories about them? I'm not sure who that is. Oh, the god of water will likely split into two, good versus bad waters, because water is still necessary, maybe.
Nah, you're probably right. Because it makes no sense to just hate water forever, always.
Harvest and war is similar to Freyr? I don't actually know how to pronounce that properly.
Freya?
Freyr?
I don't know. That's how I learned how to pronounce it. So
yeah. I know Freya. I'm familiar with, but I don't know if that's a different thing or a different spelling.
I mean, Freya is the masculine version of Freya.
Yeah, there's like two of them.
Okay.
No, it's thick. There's a lot of like gods that have like feminine and masculine forms. It's really interesting.
Yeah. I think people are saying, oh, what are we talking about? Are we talking about I don't know what we're talking about. Maybe the god of water being split in two and having the god being two-faced or dual-natured could be an idea.
It's a really good idea. Isn't there a Hindu god that's similar to that? But it's like more than two faces.
Oh, maybe.
I think so. Yeah, there's one kind of Brahmin, one of the original ones, has like four faces. So you kind of watch everybody. And I am ready. Everybody else.
Okay. Yay!
All right, let's switch up to Miles.
Okay, so I'm just scrolling randomly. I've done a lot. I have made some forms and kind of thinking about compounding and such. So I just chose the word for the younger man, the conscriptable person, to kind of be just an example of some derived stuff, kind of as like a person thing. You can easily probably probably add the woman here to kind of just, if you want to add a gender to it, so be it. But I made the word for enemy, meaning camel man, kind of like what we talked about before. We kind of separated our own little vibes. I have a word for comrade, so kind of like your friend soldier. Blacksmith is your sword dude. This is supposed to be soldier, not solder. That is the dagger dude. I also have canonically, and Jake will not be surprised by this, have gone the VSO route, so a lot of head initial stuff. I'm kind of going there. So I've also created the word for flood. I thought it'd be kind of cool if the word for flood and the word for the storehouse were related. So kind of just like the keyboard to fill up, you're getting kind of like an accruance of like the water, an overflow, so to speak. So your fill up water is a flood, and then your fill up flax is your storehouse. And then I have the word for a river, which is pipunu, which I think is adorable. It comes from flow water. These forms are getting kind of long, but I do have now some new phonology here. So the velar approximant has now gutted. It now is going to be either a Y or a W. I now have a glottal column. I now have a dental column. I have my little sound changes here. But yeah, that's kind of what I've been going on. I'm probably going to make some little small sentences, just kind of put things into perspective, and then kind of like go from there.
Wow. That's crazy. People are saying you do not probably have time to sketch out a writing system. Someone was asking about that.
I do not. No. I very much wished. But
Oh my god. Not directly related to this, but someone says that camels being able to go long periods without drinking water could have some interesting combos with the belief that water is evil within that one group. Okay. Yes. Okay. So then, Jake, are you ready?
I'm ready. And I have questions. Although, is it question time already? Or shall I show what I've done and then launch into...
the form.
Yeah.
It'll be question time when you're done, but you can ask questions now. Like whatever order you got to do it in is fine. But you have the floor, the stage, whatever.
Okay. I've just started like naming stuff people make, which I feel like I'm not really a big naming language person, as I've said elsewhere, but I've just kind of like launched into it and I'm having fun. So for the glacier cult, I've given them a name. Like, so I just kind of assumed that the people who love the glacier would like really like the distance from everyone else. So it might be like a dialectal thing, but like high, like is in high up, is gonna be like cool in like the Highlands. Speaking, I'm gonna ask a question so that Hannah has time to think. I've named the people Chaya, and I'm wanna name it after the something to do with the like shamanic-ish. I don't know if you said shaman or if I'm reading into it because I love shamans, but like the source of the charisma. And then so the language would then be Chaya Kongwo. And I decided that well would be from the name of just the word for valley. And then the valleys now would be specifically like mountain valleys, which would be Bakangao. And for Miles, I've named the water god the trap watcher, basically, or watcher's trap. So in the elite language, it would be Yu'u Teta. So do what you want with that to kind of corrupt it.
Yeah. Oh gosh. That is corruptible. I guess it would come out as like Uuketa.
You could just merge the vowels.
I might just even calc something, to be honest, and just kind of. What is your word for trap? If you have
trap is Eta.
And that does make sense with the word order that you have there. Yeah. Okay. Cool.
Yeah, I'm doing head final.
Shocker.
This is how we balance each other out, you know?
Yes, very much so. Ooh, kitty.
I still haven't decided on like a sentence order. I'm just kind of vibing. Like I did make an indefinite marker. So that basically like it could be that these things are like the one. And I'm thinking of making I should make an augmentative because I made a word for flood and then I made the word for glacier and realized that calling the glacier flood essentially the compound of glacier and flood would be really, really boring. So I will find a way to do something with that anyway.
We do have a suggestion to you to go with free word order and just embrace the chaos.
That means making a lot of marking, and I don't know if I want to do that for a naming language.
Yeah, it's
Well, there's
gonna,
a follow-up suggestion to have word roll denoted entirely by affixes.
That's also a lot of marking. And obviously you could make a naming language with a lot of like marking, but I feel like at that point you might as well just do the whole grammar.
Yeah.
Yeah. We'll see. I'll have a think. I'll see what the next prompt is and if there's anything more languagey I can do with it.
Okay. All right. So then you're good, right, Jake?
Yeah.
Okay. So then does anyone else have anything to wrap up? Any questions for each other? Any thoughts before we go on to round 3?
No.
I think I'm good.
Okay. We do have one, we have a lot of chat questions, but we have one that stood out, which was if we are concerned at all about like what ores and types of things they would have access to.
I'm assuming Arn. I haven't made a word for it yet, but I have it as a potential word to be made.
Well, they would have to be. They'd have to have access to iron to have gotten to this stage.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, they've got a fair bit of mountains around them, so like, there's probably a lot they could access, but I haven't really thought about the tectonic history at all.
Mm-hmm.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. Okay, so we're ready for round 3. So this is going to be, before the two factions were at war, there was a distant empire that conquered their region. Both factions were under imperial control for many decades, but together they managed to extricate themselves. And after they freed themselves, there was also a migration of refugees into the region from nearby areas still under the empire's control.
Oh boy.
Oh boy, indeed.
Oh.
So
Can
who
we
wants to make a
say-
language? Me or Miles?
Yeah, literally.
Can we say
Can
that
we
this
get
distant
YouTube to
empire
vote
is
on
from across the sea?
Ooh, that's
Yeah.
a good
Oh
idea.
no.
No?
Oh, damn.
Because that would be useful for introducing new species.
Yeah,
Mm.
we do have a coastline. We've got like a pretty big river leading up into the center of this area. And we could have this dynamic where there's like the empire controlled all the lowlands, but there are still, independent factions in the highlands.
Mm.
I think Miles is better placed if we take Magpie's suggestion that one of the languages
You know.
is a descendant. Miles is already doing the chronological stuff.
Mm-hmm. So at least I have at least some history built in, and that's kind of what I was thinking with that comment too. I'm thinking that if that is the case, then my people would likely be the more. I was in the more easily freed, the more easily like what's the opposite of conquered? But yeah,
Emancipated?
yes, there we go. That's like what I'm looking for. Let's like emancipated first, or like revolted against the empire first in some capacity, because they also were militant.
Shall I evolve something from your proto language, or is that too crazy?
No, evolve from my proto language.
Okay, I'll do that then. Can you send me your document, please?
Yes, I'll share it with you.
McCain did suggest, and by suggest I mean demand, a Creole with 2 different isolates.
Okay. I think I'm almost happy with my terrain map, so I need to start putting some like I could try and get a sense of the climate at this point, but then I want to start putting some like factions and regions and cities on the board, I think.
Mm.
Okay. Did anyone else have anything for the pre-chatting bit, or should I move on to checking the chat?
This is so much.
Demanding is the Dutch way of suggesting. I'm kind of just been working in general fluidly, so whenever everybody else is kind of in their boats.
I don't know. I feel like this might be going a bit off script a bit. I feel like once I got the base map down, I kind of want to check in with everyone. Well, I mean, you are checking in with everyone, and just sort of like try and sort of fit all these pieces together into like an overall picture of the land we're putting together. Does that make sense? I'm not sure that makes sense. Sort of try integrating our different progress a little.
Kind of like actually like placing certain areas like on the map, or kind of like
yeah, stuff like that.
Okay, yeah. Okay. Yeah.
Okay. Shall I go through the chat real quick?
Yeah.
Okay. All right. I'm going to go through that. And also, just to give you all a heads up, I'm going to change round 4 because the original round 4 was going to be very similar to something we've already kind of done. And I feel like we need something a little bit more interesting. So. Yeah. Okay, we already talked about that. That's good. Invasive snakes from the Imperial Snake Cult. Let's see.
Wait, did the ruling faction, the distant empire, come from north or south? Or east or west?
Sort of, if we're going from the sea, that would be the, I remember my directions, southeast.
Ooh. What would their climate be like?
If they're from across the sea, it could be anything, I guess.
Yeah. Snakes.
Snake
climate.
Snake climate.
Tropical. I'm feeling tropical archipelago.
Ooh.
Whoa.
Infested with snakes.
the reaction set.
The archipelago also in the shape of snakes. It's all snakes.
Oh God.
How easy would that be to just like draw a line between the archipelagos? Like, that's a snake.
Okay. When Miles
It's like
gets me
stargazing.
the document, I'm adding as many sibilants to this as I can squeeze into this language.
Yes. Okay.
Oops,
Lots of
snake.
talks about all the meals being very important. Yes.
Mm-hmm.
Let's see. Immigrants tend to go where others of the same origin have settled. It is possible that some regions have experienced 2 or more waves. Maybe the empires of the region, some things are going extinct, hunting them as a sport or a delicacy. Yes, yes, yes. Yes, yes, yes. What are the best fictional empires to look at for ideas? I mean, I feel like if you're looking for ideas, you should look at a wide breadth of different ones because they're all very different, and limiting yourself to only a few, I feel like, would be less helpful. And it also makes it harder, like, especially if you look at ones you're more familiar with, the interesting bits, I feel like, will stand out less, you know? Like, if you see a lot, you can sort of distinguish where they're different and why they might be different more easily.
I think I have to run to the bathroom, but I'll be right back. And then I think I have the map.
Okay. Will was I think getting caught up because they commented on dumpster pandas, and glad everyone is having a happy world build from Lands Unknown. Let's
Happy
see.
world
Thank
build.
you.
Yes. Snake Land. People are asking about architecture. I'm not sure how much we'll get into architecture.
This has changed. Oh, that's cute.
Okay. Gonna see if there's anything else here. Okay, I think that's everything. Oh, oh no. McCain says, okay, but the real question is, why does this stream with 6 participants work better professionally than any late-time studio episode?
This is true.
Well, you're in luck. In the
We're
link
some
below
veterans.
are all of our portfolios, and also if
Nemo
you're a
says
big
because-
studio looking
because
to hire
Langton
fantasy.
Studio is run by David. Poor David.
And
Oh my gosh. I feel like what we're doing here, though, is very, very simple. Like, I set this all up to be very simple. They have, like, multiple cameras and, like, all sorts of things going on, and they have to have, like, weird backup props for when, you know, Jesse isn't there. You know? Wasn't it, like a hair and, like... I mean, that's a whole secondary cast to have prepared, you know?
Mhm. I'm gonna do that. I'm gonna do this. We're gonna do it live.
Okay. So we're still... Oh, wait. Convenient timing.
Oh no.
Averaging.
Oh, hello.
Nikolai is back. All right. Are you ready? Pasta.
All right.
Let me pull you up. You are up. Wow.
Okay.
You're so good.
So I think this is the terrain map we should go with. It has some rough edges, but it's fine. So yeah, we've got this sort of central valley with a series of large lakes and some pretty big rivers. So there's the sea in the southeast here where like the empire may have gone on. Maybe they still have outposts on these little islands here. That could be a sort of tension.
Ooh,
And
that'd be
then
cool.
yeah, I figure somewhere around here would have been the big glacier that the sort of outburst flood came from like this lake here would have been blocked by a glacier and then outburst. Then here's the other lake up here with a few little islands for cults.
Important.
So you can see there's a central lowland which might have like lots of nice arable farmland along all these rivers. and then it very quickly ramps up to these fairly high mountains, but with broad glacial valleys between them. So you can have like sort of separate families and tribes and dynasties in each of these that are kind of a little more sort of self-sufficient and isolated compared to the lowlanders. So then we've got these two main factions. So how should we divide up this whole region?
So I have a place name already that could help us.
Mm-hmm.
So if you kind of go, if I can see your like, I can't see what number that is. I think it's like your 700 on the y-axis, kind of where those two lakes are on the west, the northwest. Do you see that one little kind of angular bend right there, kind of where your mouse is, but to the right there. So somewhere on that little river bend, I have a little place in the kind of means river bend. It is where I have it. It's a Shuwinu, SHUWINNUH.
Oh wait, run that by me again.
Got you. SU. Oh no, SHU. Sorry. WINNUH.
Shuwinu. All right. Do you have any particular concept for what this place is?
My guess is going to be kind of like the naval launch where the boats kind of drop in, so they can kind of like start to go into these like lakes and defend it a little bit. But also because it's a little bit more proximity, it's going to be kind of a land kind of fortification too, I think.
Actually, I think I like that idea because that's sort of at the edge of where the mountains are.
Mm-hmm.
So if we imagine there's maybe like one of the factions is sort of more concentrated in the lowlands, the lower parts of the river, and then the other one is more up here. This is sort of like a good spot where it's like far enough up towards the mountains that like it's still fairly defensible, but they have access to the major lakes and river systems. So I think that's a good starting point for that.
Kick ass.
All right. Let's do this like.
No cataracts on the lake, Nemo. I agree.
Yeah, I think from this point on, it's like it should be pretty flat.
Yeah.
There's like maybe some funky stuff going up in the mountains, but that's fine. So yeah, so let's say different like sort of cultural regions. Okay, so here's the general sense of what I'm getting. So we have sort of one faction here, which is sort of in the not totally restricted to the mountains, but sort of in this more rugged region. And then sort of different faction, which is sort of more in the lowlands. And we might say like, historically, these guys have been like more populous, more sort of powerful. But then, you know, this empire invades and it mostly affects those lowland regions. So they're kind of that. And then eventually they manage to throw off the yoke of them. But then this giant flood comes and it sort of more affects them because they're more in these low river areas. So that sort of wipes them out a little. And sort of because of like the shifts in hydrology and like the way the flood has affected the ecology, their like croplands aren't working for them as well anymore. So it's sort of these like historically somewhat more isolated highland factions. They're like now starting to push out, and maybe wondering if we're sort of going for like this sort of early, not quite sort of late pre-industrial, if like how that would feed into it. I don't know. That's sort of the general idea I'm working with right now, I think.
Mm.
People like that. And then we can have cults and other people in the Highlands. Maybe there's like different guys here doing their own thing, or guys here, but maybe not too overcomplicate things yet. I think that's that's sort of what I want to do. Try and figure out the cultural geography here.
Mm-mm.
I like that. People say this makes sense.
Just vibing. All right.
Is that good for you, Nikolai?
Yeah, I think that's good for now.
Okay.
I guess just if anyone has anything else they want to sort of try and get on the map, just like shout me out.
Heard.
Okay. Bib, are you ready?
I suppose. I haven't actually made very much progress, but so be it.
I think I keep kicking your stream off every time I add the slides back in. Let me take my slides off again.
Share screen.
Okay,
Is that
here we
working?
go. Yes, you are up, Bib, and I'm going to step away for just a second, so I'll be back in a moment. Keep talking.
Okay. So I just wrote down this little random note that maybe they have some tradition of falconry. I don't know, just in like the more open areas. That just was just a random idea that occurred to me. I have committed to the idea at this point that no mammoths, but yes, gomphotheres, just to get a little bit of variation, because gomphotheres are, quite closely related large proboscideans. We can have fuzzy gomphotheres that are basically stand-ins for mammoths, but they have been losing out in competition with the camelids. The camelids are like really taking over as the main herbivorous clade of the region. So there's only about 2 or 3 gomphothere species left, and maybe either one or both of the factions could tame them, not domesticate them, but tame them in some way and use them as either beasts of burden or as mounts in war, for example. Did I say anything else up here? Oh yeah, I decided that in addition to the dog-like hyenas, there are still some bone-crushing hyenas, like Dinocrocuta, which is this very large species of bone-crushing hyena. Just very, if you picture like a spotted hyena, but like twice the size, kind of getting close to Dinocrocuta. And I was thinking there could be some sort of like split in the way that these animals are perceived. Like the dog-like hyenas, especially the ones that are domesticated, are seen as like how to say, pure animals, I guess. Like they're, loyal, reliable, clean beasts that, live in close association with the human settlements. Whereas the bone-crushing hyenas, they're nasty, they're unclean, they eat corpses, and they're aggressive. And so, coming from relatively similar origins, you get this sort of divergence in the way that these animals are viewed. Did I say anything else up here? I don't think so. And the idea that I'm chewing on now is that I like the idea that when this distant empire comes over from across the sea, they introduce some sort of domesticate that then escapes and becomes feral, and then is possibly re-domesticated by the original inhabitants of this area, a bit like what happened with horses when the European settlers arrived in the Americas and they introduced horses to America, and then some of them escaped and became wild, and then various indigenous groups tamed or effectively re-domesticated the horses. So I was trying to think of what group to use for that, and I was thinking giraffids, like if they have like Acarpes or like Civatherium or something like that, that's kind of cool. But at the same time, it is quite similar to Apicamelus. You have two things that basically look like giraffes. I don't know, it's a bit too convergent for my tastes. I was also thinking maybe Entelodonts, but I do tend to overuse Entelodonts just because I like them too much. And Entelodont, in case you don't know, that they're also called hell pigs, because at one time they were thought to be related to pigs. Hell pigs, yeah.
Oh my god.
They're actually not very closely related to pigs. They're more closely related to like hippos. But if you imagine like a very big cross between a wild boar and a hippo, that's kind of what you'd get. Very large, very aggressive. Yeah, which makes me think that they probably wouldn't have very much like domesticating them as the other thing. So maybe not Entelodonts as much as I love them. And then the third idea I had was maybe cervids, so like deer or elk, or we've said they're coming from like a tropical area, which I suppose they could introduce some reptiles, although I think reptiles might struggle in this kind of climate, so I don't think they'd necessarily become like invasive. Whereas something like, yeah, if they introduce deer, some kind of tropical cervid of some sort, I don't know. I still need to think about this, but that's kind of what I'm going for. I think that's everything I had.
Okay. People are voting elk, yes.
Elk, yes. Okay. I shall listen to the people.
Coastal snakes.
Coastal snakes.
Okay, what else do we have? There's some nonsense earlier on when I stepped away about trying to throw a party without me. Rude, Edgar. Very rude. Seagulls throwing a party, attempting to commune with Bib, apparently.
Excuse me?
Apparently there were seagulls. I don't know. I don't really quite know what was going on in
There
chat.
were seagulls outside your window earlier.
They seem to have moved on now, thankfully.
But they shall return.
Probably.
Oh, water snakes.
Yeah, maybe.
Ooh.
Apparently there's been a squeaking noise that some people have heard, and they're assuming it was the seagulls.
Yeah, I thought I heard locusts at first, because like I had no clue what it was.
You know what it is? It's the crickets outside my window. I'm so
Oh.
sorry. Yes. I forget they exist. I'm so sorry. I'll mute when I'm not talking.
No, it's nice ambient noise.
Yeah. It fits the vibes.
I've had like even family members when they call me on the phone, they're like, yeah, what do you have crickets going out your window? It's like, yeah, can't really stop them. I'm so sorry, everyone.
Oh my gosh. Okay. So then that was Bib. Are you ready, Hannah?
Yes.
Okay. Where is my... Okay, here we go. Boom.
Yeah, okay. Hang on. I didn't think about this. I didn't think this through. Okay, so Distant Empire. So there was a Distant Empire. It used to be in control and now it's not. So they were the ones who brought the rigid societal structures over to the upper group and got them sort of semi... not integrated, I don't think is the term, but yeah, no, they definitely like influenced the culture. They are monotheistic. They worship very big snake goddess. Let's see. The capital, I don't know where it is. I don't know what it is. I'm assuming it's a trade center. There's hopefully a lot of statues and reliefs of that snake goddess in the architecture around the main most populated areas, or the places that used to be the most populated. I really like the idea of like if you had if everything was coming in on the water through like ships, you could have this huge arch from one bank to the other, and it's just this huge snake. I like that idea, but I don't know.
No, I like it. Snake Arch. We're doing it.
Always like
Thank you.
It's on the map.
I was trying to gather my thoughts, but thank you. Yes. Okay. Right. Yeah. Okay. So the remaining descendants of that empire that are still around are characterized or stereotyped as highborn, wealthy, out of touch, but also kind of misguided in the fact that their religion isn't the right one. Oh, those silly, silly rich people. Yeah, and then we've got two immigrant cultures. I didn't want to go too much detail into them because they're not the ones we're kind of focusing on. So we've just got immigrant culture one that just focuses on monotheism. They worship like a falcon travel god, among others, but that's like the primary one, not because they are immigrants, but because of their culture. They were the ones who chose to leave and settle elsewhere. So it's a selection bias, I guess you could say. And then I thought it would be cool if they were the ones who brought falcon domestication originally, or I don't know, maybe it's something that you wanted to develop within that area, but I don't know. Yeah, and then immigrant culture too. They have too many gods. You can't list them down. Not even the people who follow the religion can list them down. And that is all I've got so far. And then I've just gone cult. One is local, but in a way where it's they are a little bit of the main culture of the people before the schism, and then also intermixing with like people more in the north. So it's like local, but not really local, but also yes, local. And then all of the bandit cults are all very multicultural. It's a mix and medley of people. And then cult 16, I imagine, would probably be local, so I didn't just write that down. And then you've got cult 17, are real gods. We're really in it now. And they believe that all the other gods are fake, but not really. It's just that they've all been replaced by imposters, and they're the only ones who know the real gods, and they're the ones who worship the correct ones. And actually, the water god is totally cool. It was the imposter that did that terrible thing. Yeah, and then I thought it would be cool if they were more multicultural, and then if their depictions were more influenced by like the art styles and culture of those immigrants. And it's like, again, it's like a little bit of a mix and a medley. It would be fun. Yeah, I haven't thought it through at all, but anyways. Yeah, and then yeah, the thing with immigration is that it's never, I mean, it's not often that it's perceived as a good thing by the locals, unfortunately. Yeah. So you've got, unfortunately, the lower group, I think, would probably be, because they're so we the people, patriotic in that sense, and very, they have a very strong sense of like internal identity. They probably wouldn't take outsiders too kindly. But then that would then split into another subgroup of the lower group that's like, actually, equality is equality and everyone should be allowed that chance. So they do exist. They're just like a minority of the larger lower group. I thought that'd be cool. But anyway, and then they believe all the same things and all that. So it's not really that different. But anyway, and then, yeah, then you've got the rigid structures from the upper, and then you've also got them also kind of not being super nice to immigrants unless they sort of assimilate themselves into the official doctrine. I think that would be fairly in line with what's been characterized so far. Yeah, that's pretty much all I got.
We have some fun comments about divine imposter syndrome.
Nice.
Someone said, the evil imposter gods were sealed within the glacier and were released with the flood. Okay, let's see. Okay, so then, Miles, are you ready?
I think so.
Okay, let's pop you up there.
I'm kind of uncertain as to what I kind of got done in those little moments, but I know somewhat of what I did. We now have words for small boat and big boat, so that's at least nice. We have some river fish. I put bluegill since that's what I kind of know like a river fish is. I don't know if there's any other river fish with a name that I know. So I put just like boogaloo river fish. We have sneck, which is always nice. I'm trying to think what else I did. I did come up with the water god name equivalent, which is Puthgai, which I think is kind of a cool little name there. I also have the name for the boat launch, Cheku Mobe, and then I have some little sentences down here. I think I've made like plural marking is reduplication of initial syllable, because this is a naming language, so I'm not trying to do anything crazy derivational. And this is as, I don't know, it's a cool way to make some plurals. So I thought it'd be fun. And then I have just this little clitic here that is your first person pronoun. So we have Solgalets Chenusu, which is I train my comrade. Iquile Chenupos, which is I slice my enemy. Shui no lachde le, the soldier dodges me, which I don't really like how this little pronoun is standing alone. I definitely want there to be a little more marking on that, but you know, whatever. And then chiku no lasu hehewe, and the comrades release the small boats. And I'm trying to add some gender in there too, so we have everybody playing around, killing people, releasing boats, and trying not to starve.
Nice.
And that's where my brain's at.
I like it. People are offering sturgeon as a river fish.
I like the idea.
Minnows,
Salmon.
carp.
Ooh. I'll
Yeah,
put
salmon.
sturgeon, and then I'm gonna put minnow
Eel.
in. Whoa, minnow! I like minnow and I like eel. Okay, cool.
Yeah.
Cool.
Mm-mm.
Sweet. Okay. So then, Jake, are you ready?
I am ready to present the very little that I've managed to get done.
Okay.
Miles sent me this email with the link, and I didn't get any notifications because I wasn't looking at my emails. And then I harassed him on Discord, and then
I didn't see it
turned out-
because my computer was on.
Yeah, so that was fun. I have taken the root forms that Miles has, and I'm trying to judge quite how far. I want to take this away from what it currently is. At the moment, I've played around with the vowels a lot because I'm trying to get ready for a big palatalization event. But we'll see what happens. Yeah.
I'm just I got lethargy out. That's surprising.
I'm weighing up whether I do what I did for one of my other conlangs, where I just kind of get rid of a whole bunch of syllables. I might make it a conditioned thing, but we'll see.
Okay.
We'll see.
I don't know if y'all are looking at the chat, but we have I believe 70% of species died out in the last big palatalization event. Good. And when in doubt, reduplicate.
Amen, brother. Amen.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. Do you all have any final remarks to make before we proceed to what will be our final round, round 4?
Oh no.
No? All good.
No.
Me and my school town are doing great.
I
Bracing
think we're
for
doing
impact.
it.
Now let's go.
Okay. Okay, so round 4, which I did originally prepare 6 rounds, so I've been like trying to figure out which one would be the least, like I don't want to like re-go over any of the stuff we already did, but let's do this one. So round 4 is going to be, there is a cultural tradition of sports with animals involved in them. So this could be animal racing, animal riding, animal fighting, that sort of a thing throughout the region that is incredibly culturally significant. Lots of like major arenas and other sports areas throughout.
Falconry?
Can you do falconry in a stadium?
Nemo says
No.
camel polo.
Yeah,
You can if you want a coward.
the stadia is what's throwing me off a lot because I originally thought like, oh, we're gonna do like back dealing like beta fish fights, kind of a little bit. So that definitely goes against my thought process.
There are some suggestions in the chat.
Oh, chat, what do you have for us? What good little snake fighting?
Snake fighting.
Camel
Yeah, I was
polo.
thinking maybe snake fighting.
I like snake fighting. How big are our snakes here?
Well, I was thinking maybe that one of the species that the invading peoples introduced is snakes, since they have the whole snake motif going on. And if they were viewed like with significant cultural importance, they could be. I'm trying to think if there's any. I don't know if there's ever been any success in domesticating snakes. Like you can definitely breed snakes, but I don't know if they have like certain breeds of particularly large snakes that they like breed specifically for these games. I don't know.
Could it? I don't know. I don't know why I'm thinking of like the Westminster Dog Show, but like I could imagine like doing like little agility courses, and you could kind of like train the snakes to kind of like speed through them as fast as you could.
Mazes, snake mazes.
Yeah, snake mazes.
Snake mazes. It's genius. Sorry.
Yeah, I don't know how you prompt the snake
Why do
to
they keep
actually
putting-
move through the maze.
Why do you keep putting
Apples?
rats in mazes? It should be snakes. It's so obvious.
If you put little fruits down, every time the snake eats a fruit, it grows a little bit, and by the end, it has to eat itself.
No, you put mice in the maze and then you put the snakes in. That's so good.
So wouldn't the snake eat a mouse and then like get really sleepy while it digests it?
Yeah.
They don't have to finish the course. The sport is to see how quickly they eat the mouse.
Okay.
I like what Nemo was saying with like a minotaur situation, but big snake.
I'm
Wait, no,
struggling
this
to
is
see where the
just-
game part comes in.
I am too now. I think we evolved into the game.
This is
Maybe
You put 2 different colored snakes in, and it's whoever eats the mouse first. And you starve them beforehand, so they're really hungry.
yeah.
we have to do that for a long time.
They plan in advance.
Yeah.
Yeah, there's like snake maze league.
I don't know.
So every month.
Maybe you
the
just
snake-
throw people you don't like into the snake pit, and that's the game.
Ooh, big
How
snake.
big are the snakes?
That's the fun part. It's just like a lot of little snakes and it's a lot of little bites, and then after a while, yeah.
Oh no, that's just piranhas on land.
Ooh. This is
Not
a
for
tough
us.
one. I don't know how to proceed with this one.
Oh my gosh.
Yeah, the obvious answer would be something like camel races, or
For sure.
just something along those lines.
We're
Mhm.
better than obvious. We're better than obvious.
Yeah, I think there's a lot of options in the chat with camels too, like camel chariot races, camel polo. I feel like there's another one. What was the other one?
Ooh, elk jousting.
Mm.
Mm.
Let's see. There was snake stomping, where trained camels have to stomp the most snakes in a given time period.
That's just animal cruelty.
Yep.
As opposed to our plan, which is to stop snakes.
Keeping cruelty.
Oh. Let's see.
Maybe snake fighting is just a euphemism for like capturing imperial people off the street.
Ooh. Well, the word for camel in my language is derived like means or has been used to mean enemy, or has been like used to like derive the word for enemy. So it can be something that could play into kind of how they view the camel sports.
Mm-hmm. So elk jousting was brought up, as is the idea of involving falcons.
Mm.
Yeah, I keep going back to like
Yeah.
falcon. This is also veering into animal cruelty, but like falcon fighting.
Mhm.
Most
I mean-
sports back in the day was just cruelty,
Mhm.
human and animal.
Mhm. There was one where you have birds, which could be falcons, where the falcons have to race while carrying snakes on their body, and if the snake falls off, they lose. One of the chat ideas.
We could have two men dressed like elks with the horns, and then they joust.
Oh gosh.
You could
It's
have
just-
like
Mm.
like headbutting, like when the elk or other horned beasts of burdens like smash their heads together. You have two people like riding the elk while that
Yeah,
happens. It's kind of like jousting, but also not.
it's kind of like jousting meets bull riding.
Yes.
Mm-hmm.
I like that idea a bit.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, it's a little bit not quite mundane. I don't know what the word is, but
Sorry, I'm laughing at the comments. It's the two men dressing up like elks and jousting seems like a euphemism.
Elk matadors.
Yeah. Oh.
Mm.
All right, but it's gotta be in a stadium.
yeah, was that an actual stipulation?
I think
Or was
what
that-
the idea is we'd have big stadiums around where people are
It-
doing that.
Mm.
Yeah, it said major arenas. So
Okay.
could be anything, like doesn't necessarily have to be a stadium.
So we're like on a scale of like Emirates Stadium versus like your community park soccer field. Where are we at in terms of these?
Big.
We're thinking about huge.
Big.
Oh god.
I don't know.
I just figured that was the right answer.
I feel like it would be difficult to see snakes in a big stadium.
I also, at least without Jumbotron technology, I agree.
Yeah.
Okay,
Jumbotron.
what if
They
we?
paint them really bright colors.
What if the stadium has like tall grass down the bottom or something, and then you've got people doing the elk jousting or whatever, but there are snakes in the grass. So if they're not careful, they just run over a snake and get bitten and die.
Wow.
What if it was like basketball?
Elaborate?
Sorry. You know, two teams, no one dies, no one has snakes. They throw a ball. That's what basketball is, right?
Get 100 points for doing something. That's what basketball is.
Mm.
Yes, the elk Maracana.
Mm. What's the fun of that?
All right. I mean, I feel like I threw slightly more of a wrench in this than I expected.
It's a conversation starter, to say the least.
Yeah.
There could be like local differences in rules and how exactly it's played. But if we start with a base of just like elk fighting, like you need to ram your elk into someone else's elk and knock them off the back of the elk. And then depending on which town or province you're in, you can throw in extra complications like, oh, in this place, we dump a load of snakes in there just to really mess with them.
What if?
Go ahead.
Oh, sorry.
No, go ahead.
Okay, what if the upper and lower groups have something like a Christmas truce, where once a year they get together and they headbutt elks for a single day, and each team is upper and lower, and it almost always ends in a riot because it's just not a good time.
Yeah, no, I'm working with this.
I'm thinking.
Yeah. It's a sport movie meets a war film.
I do think it's the idea of a Christmas truce is cool. Like they kind of stop fighting for like one of the holidays that is really, I guess, cross-culturally important. They go to the stadium, they headbutt elk, and it's kind of this like allegory for the war, and then they kind of like go back to it. It's kind of like their purge, I guess, but more peaceful.
Mm-hmm.
The anti-purge.
The anti-purge.
There could be different breeds of elk, different shapes of antlers.
Mm.
And then
that's the sport of it. It's like kind of like the crafting and the shaving and the yeah.
Ooh. They sharpen the horns.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Cool. Is that enough of an idea that we're ready to dive into it?
Maybe.
Because I think we have it's 2:22, so we probably have another 20 to 25 minutes before we want to like share and get into our like final stuff. So I feel like we should probably try to have y'all start digging back into it again.
Cool.
Okay. So I will check on the chat real quick, and then we'll start checking in with people. Lots of people's thoughts on these sports things. I'm gonna not read any of the ideas because I don't want to redirect everyone. There are definitely some funny ones. And also if there was games, where was Nemo's comment? Yeah, what you were saying, Hannah, Nima commented on that and said, explains why they are always at war, plus half of them have concussions.
All right, yeah.
Would they have sports teams? Okay. Yeah, okay. Nikolai, are you ready to check in?
Yeah, sure.
Okay, let's pop you up there.
All right. So yeah, I've just been kind of throwing together some vague ideas, different regions, and trying to put together some sort of basic political geology here. Secrets. So the sort of basic, this our concept I've been kind of putting together this vague timeline of how we got to this point in my head of like so we had the Empire invade and they sort of controlled a lot of this lower area, and then the whole region kind of unified to like push them out. But they've now, at this point, after various disasters, they've kind of splintered a little. And that's why this other faction is sort of like expanding and trying to take control of the central region. So that's sort of, I'm trying to like outline the sort of areas of controls of the different factions at this time. So you've got the sort of mountain faction, they're sort of concentrated in these valleys up here, but they've kind of expanded down along the coast of this lake here. And then this is sort of the main sort of other kingdom, theocracy. I'm not sure we established that. That's like trying to oppose them, trying to get everyone else to like kind of join up with them and like push them back out, but nobody really wants to do it. I've also, you can see, just kind of plop down some like sites for cities and areas where it seemed like they might make sense, sort of along river junctions and coastlines and places that might be centers of trade. We've got our designated elk jousting truce zone in the middle. It's critical.
Love it.
Just a nice little island here I liked. But yeah, and then I figure we've got just these kind of breakaways of these like, I don't know, petty kingdoms or something. Maybe these guys are more important. I figured down here we'd have trade ports. You can have like the snake arch over the end of the river here where this all drains out. The Imperials have still got their little outposts and they don't really understand what's going on. They're just into snakes. They don't know where this whole elk element came from. I don't know. I think that's where I'm at the moment. I feel like, I don't know, are there any other cults I need to get on the board? I feel like that's a good thing I could work on.
Well, we've got the hippie cult.
Hippie cult. Let's give them this island. This is a nice little island.
Yeah. The island and the river. And they...
I don't know why I'm green. All right, the hippies, they'll live up
We
here.
have a name for that one, but I don't know if I try and say it. Shall I just spell it?
Sure.
So T C apostrophe.
V? Sorry?
Yeah, T C
C.
for cat. It's a palatal click.
All right.
A R A, and then another R A, and then N X A. Yeah.
All right. A little bit of a mouthful, but that's fine.
Adaranta. Isn't there anything easier to say?
That's fine. All right. So that's their thing. They're hanging out there. They're having a good time. They're like, why are you guys bothering elks? You guys, just hang out. Drink the river water. I don't know.
It's probably clean.
Yeah, it's fine. It's whatever. Who knows what's going on up there? But yeah, that's just kind of what I've been putting together. What should I work on next? I could try and put together like roads and trade routes, or I don't know, military campaigns. Something to like finish us out here. Maybe I'll see what the chat feels about it. The borders, I think someone asked. For the borders, I figured like this is a very sort of river-centered society. Like the countryside is a bit rugged, so the idea is like the borders kind of tend to run along the ridge lines between rivers. So the idea is like they're like getting in their boats and like controlling the routes of trade that way. And then sort of control extends out from the rivers. That's the sort of logic for how I've been marking them out. But, yeah, that's what I've been up to.
Very cool. I do think the snake arch being called the Snarch is funny.
Snarch.
Also, we have crossed 100 viewers, which is cool.
Whoa!
Do they have pirates? Someone asks.
Whoa.
There could be a pirate island here.
Oh. All right. So then, Bib, are you ready?
I think so. I mean, I don't have too much to add at this point,
Okay.
but like,
Here we go.
so
You're
we've
up.
established, I think. So the elk originally they're introduced to this land by the invading empire because they're used as mounts and pack animals, and they're specifically tropical elks. So I'm imagining in this world, like, antelope just don't exist, or other like more typical ungulates in like tropical environs just don't exist, and so the elks fill those niches. So we've got tropical elks, and the tropical elks are introduced by the empire, and inevitably some of them escape and become feral, and then after the empire is rebuffed and the factions are like reconsolidating, they round up these elk because these elk are going to cause some ecological problems here because you're introducing like a very large and comparatively aggressive herbivore into this place that's dominated mainly by camelids, and so they're gonna be in competition for a bit. And then as the new factions are getting used to these elk and bringing them back under control, they think like, oh, these things, they hit each other with their heads. That's kind of cool. Let's make a game out of it. And so then this tradition develops. And yeah, I like the idea that they have different breeds of these tropical elk that have different shaped horns that are used in different ways during fights. Like, just as a sort of example, I'm not saying that they actually have Megaloceros, but just in reference to the shape of the horns, like you could have some more like offensive elks that have like these very palmate antlers with lots of like sharp tines that are used to like really aggressively try and pull the opposing rider out of the saddle. And then you like Megaloceros gets a lot of credit for being like having ridiculously huge antlers. I would like to bring everyone's attention to Cynomagasaurus pachyosteus, which to my mind has equally ridiculous horns, except that instead of like in Megaloceros where they're quite sort of palmate structures, in Cynomagasaurus, especially the eyebrow tines are like fused together into this sort of like shield structure over the head. So some of these tropical elk could have a similar sort of structure where they have like these helmeted elks that are more for like defensive, and so it's up to the elk rider to choose like which breed of elk they're going to go with based on their preferred strategy. Are they going to be more aggressive or defensive? And that's like part of the sport. And yeah, as we said earlier, they could modify the antlers in some way. I don't know if like adding like metal caps on the end or something would be allowed. I think that's cheating. But yeah, certainly like sharpening the horns or something. And it occurs to me as well that elk shed their antlers. So it could be like this could be a seasonal sport.
Oh, yeah, that makes sense.
And that's basically all the thoughts I'd had up until this point.
That's cool. Okay. They're impressed with your rattling off of those names, and people are saying they look very cool. The people that Googled it, I also Googled those, and they're very cool looking.
Very underrated.
Mm-hmm. Metal-tipped war elks.
Yes, they could definitely have those.
Very cool. All right, Hannah, are you ready?
Yes, I am. Kind of. I haven't done that much, but it's fine.
That's okay.
What even is sport, really, at the end of the day? Right, so I've added in sort of alternate versions of the snake god to be that have sort of been integrated into the pantheon on both sides of the argument. You have they're both characterized as travelers, as outsiders who came into the land. And on the one side, for the upper, you have the fact that they've been assimilated stylistically, and the fact that it takes on the role as a guide during travels, typically because like most of the trade from back in the day, I assume, was going to be between the old empire and this trade port. And yeah, it's also seen as very noble, very worldly, as they have sort of like taken on some of the characterizations of what the stereotypes of that empire and the people of that empire, and kind of grafted it onto this god of theirs now. And then you have the snake god from the lower part, which is the new water god, because it came from the water and it's here now, and it's not necessarily good, but it's not bad either. It's very neutral. Over time, it'll probably get more positive connotations simply because they don't have another one that they could use. And then over here, we have the third immigrant culture. It's the killing crickets religion. They trap crickets as a sport. They eat crickets as a ritual. Think of them as communion wafers. Their devil is a cricket. And they do not believe in string instruments. They do not allow them. They do not accept them in their spaces. It reminds them of terrible things. And yeah, that's pretty much all I've got, unfortunately. I could have done more, but I got distracted by elks.
Fair.
Oh, there we go. The elk god, the only god that they have that is shared amongst them.
Yeah. Okay. So then, Miles, are you ready?
Yeah, I think I'm in a similar boat where I feel like I did not get enough done as I probably could have. But I did get some cool stuff done. So I have at least a name for the sport. It is Getsi Bojan. So it's just like to run elks at each other, kind of basically. And I also created a word for like the sharpening knife for to sharpen the horns for this, which is a huikekavne. Let's do it again. Huikekavne. I have a word for to weave, which is derived from the word for to flax and to kind of flow together to kind of just create like fabric. I had created a new place name. Oh, more importantly, I have a big snack, which is Tiyotsu. So that's of course very important. I have another place name, which is Quitsutsul, which is an eel field, and that's the lake kind of like in the upper left, kind of where that one little settlement was. I think I saw a little red square there, Nikolai. So that's the name of like the name and like the little town there. And then I made the word for pebble a diminutive, meath. So a havni is a pin or like little fascinator that you put on the elk horn during the sport to kind of make it, I guess, pronounced or shiny or more dangerous or what have you. No, but that's all I kind of got done.
Cool. Okay.
Okay, I'm ready. I've been fighting for my life with this Lexigy file, and I still don't think that I'm ready to really show anything. But, well, no, I don't think this is the most exciting way to present this data. But basically, let me see how big I can make the output. Here we go, big output. So now I can't see my sound changes to show. Like I went a bit crazy because I basically decided that if I was trying to replicate a very distant thing, then I mean, to be fair, like pos to posh, I didn't get the tone or the vowel right, but anyway, like it should be very different, and I think this is more similar than any of the language family projects I've done. But anyway, I think it sounds interesting at least. So yeah. Snake would be a Chigosh.
Chigosh.
That's a very snaky word.
I like it.
Yeah. Anyway, that's me done.
Cool. Where am I? Here we go. All right. So that puts us at the end of the last round. So we have about 20 more minutes, so we can do like any sort of final detail clarification that we want to do. I know those of you that like just showed might not have anything new to present, but we can do some final presentations for anyone that feels like they have something to show. So
I'm just sort of trying to go around and come up with sort of piece together how the economy works. So I've just been sort of throwing down ideas for like local goods people could be producing. Not sure I'm coming up with a lot here. Go to me if you feel like.
yeah, I'll pop you up. There you go. Ooh.
All right. So I figured this is sort of, I can't tell because the stream is like, this is sort of the agricultural heartland at the center here.
That makes sense.
Then for this mountain faction, I'm trying to figure out like what's their economy based on that they can be so competitive and productive. So I figure there's like some metals going on the mountains. There's lead, zinc, ivory. I know Bib mentioned like the Gomphothirs had been around but are sort of going extinct in the region. So I thought maybe there's just a population around this lake here that can get from ivory out of that. Maybe these guys in the mountains here get some silver. There's like breeding elks and snakes for whatever is going on in the middle there. I'm not sure where we landed on that.
Oh, cool. Okay.
Maybe the hippie cult could be expert weavers. That might be fun. And then
Definitely
for the
tracks.
silent cult, I thought we'd just throw on some like really weird platinum and like copper nickel ores up in the mountains, just so they can like export really bizarre ores, and then everyone else is just confused at why this one random cult in the middle of nowhere has like platinum. I don't know. That's what I'm putting together so far. Any other ideas? I'm just trying to, I don't know, just sort of throw in a few more details before we finish up here, I guess.
Yeah. I don't
Do
see
we have any regions of like significant forest cover?
Well, I think like we said, the sort of a lot of the lower areas are going to be cleared, so probably it's going to be the sort of middle altitudes, I'd guess. Like let's make this like a
If we have a big forest,
lumber region around there. So yeah, probably these like middle areas. It's more lumber. Why not? I don't think there's really much of anyone living up there.
is the top of the map is more polewood, right?
Vaguely, I think it's just kind of higher altitudes. So that's why I figured it was colder. But yeah, I guess it makes sense if there's mostly glaciers in that area. I guess they're sort of exporting out here. Just trying to get the sense of that. But anyway, yeah, that's where I'm at. I guess this question of, is there any other element we want to throw down before we sort of finish up here?
Got the agricultural area. That does, at least for me.
I feel like I've slightly just like, I'm past my hour and a half usual streaming time, and I think I'm just kind of like, Anyway, Do we know where the massive flood originated from?
It would be around here.
Okay, cool.
And there's a glacier cult in a cave somewhere.
Did we establish how long ago this massive flood actually happened relative to everything else?
I don't think we have a real exact timeline. I had kind of figured it was like recent, like after the Empire had been sort of pushed out.
Mm.
And that sort of precipitated the sort of shift in power between the factions.
Yeah, these people do have really bad luck.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Wow. We've really created a hell of a paradise here.
They got soft camel fur, and these guys seem like they're happy. They're just weaving.
Oh, did we ever establish what the origin of the charismatic leader was? Or can we make it like mushrooms, like happened in Siberia? Or is that too out there? Bib, what like plants that would put someone in a trance have you got for us?
Reindeer urine.
No!
Genuinely, it's hallucinogenic.
It's tradition. They give it to the people before they compete.
Put it on the tray. Nap.
I just think that South Park episode with the cheesing and the cat.
Alternatively, I didn't get to this part, but if we say that there are Greenland sharks in the sea, Greenland shark flesh has very high levels of, I can't remember what chemical, I want to say ammonium something, but it has, if you eat it, it has the effect of, similar to like extreme drunkenness, and can, yeah.
I think a shark eating cult sounds amazing.
Shark drugs.
And ammonia.
Oh my gosh.
Now I'm curious.
So Chaya is going to
If you eat too much of it, it is highly toxic.
Maybe it's just every corner of the map has their own particular hallucinogenic export.
This is how they deal with how harsh their lives are.
Yeah.
Makes it all worth it. It's that and the rye beer.
Someone says their holy men refuse to drink water because it is evil, so they drink alternatives like reindeer urine.
Yeah.
Yeah, there we go.
Not sure that's sustainable, but okay.
All the monks do nowadays is farm crop, drink urine, and worship the goddess. It's ridiculous.
Oh my gosh.
I think I am curious about, like, I don't know. I think I was now thinking about like tea and coffee-esque sort of drinks.
No.
That could be.
You go straight to the hard stuff.
That could be what these caravans from the east are bringing.
Oh.
Okay. Sort of like tea of some sort.
Are these associated with the colonizers? Because in that case, it is basically the new British.
The new British.
Oh
Which
my
ones
God.
are they? The crickets, the too many gods, or the falcon importers?
I mean, we do all of that in the UK, so it doesn't really matter.
What about the crickets? I'm gonna put that. Maybe these guys down here.
Quick, which are crickets' natural habitat? Is it everywhere?
Pretty much.
Hallucinogenic crickets, yes.
And it all flows in to the elk jousting truce zone along the four major axes of trade.
The psychedelic road.
That's exactly what it is. It's the Silk Road with little elks being little pack animals that we're transporting hallucinogens along the way.
I'm just gonna say it. It's no wonder the ancient empire collapsed. Eh? I couldn't handle it.
This is our opium wars.
They got a
This is
taste of
too
what we were
good for
making.
10 minutes left.
No, this is the source of the conflict. They're all arguing. That's why these guys up here, they don't got any of this. That's they're so angry about.
Oh yeah, all they got is lead and iron and some food.
I mean, lead is a neurotoxin.
I'm not sure it's the practical, recreational. But
Well, it's like
beautiful.
the Romans lined their aqueducts with lead. And there's the
Mm.
idea that they like slowly gave themselves lead poisoning, which is one of the reasons why they were so militaristic and keen to conquer everyone around them.
Mm. Oh, you should have seen the beautiful lead drinking cups of this of the northern cultures. Oh, how much they imported in the heyday of the ancient empire. Sorry, exported.
Oh my god. Okay. There's 10 minutes left. Does anyone else have any final bits they want to add before we attempt to do a recap? Also, apparently, Langtime Studio is now awake. Which it has to be-
no.
9, 10, 11. Noon? It's noon there, right? Oh gosh.
Sounds like David.
Yeah.
Mhm.
Although, no.
Yeah, lead isn't a fun neurotoxin. That's right.
all right, look, now I got it. They can have some arsenic too as a treat.
Yes.
How do you naturally source arsenic?
It's in various ores.
They just really love their apples.
Mm.
It's I think it used to be originally they made bronze with arsenic, and
Oh, cool.
a lot of early bronze makers probably
Hmm.
had severe health issues because of that.
Yeah.
Mhm.
Yeah.
So
So did the lead workers.
yeah.
Mm.
Give them some mercury too. Let's just throw it all
Oh
in there.
no.
Why not?
Why does the North get all the dangerous stuff and the South is just living it up?
Because they have
I've
snakes.
had like a volcano up
They have
there,
snakes, they got
sulfur.
drunk.
You
Sharks.
realize you're giving giving them all the ingredients to make gunpowder.
Well, yeah.
Yeah, that's
That's
what you
the
need.
next level. The next
There's a reason they went from up here to out here, you know? They've
really
almost
gonna-
got to the reindeer urine. It's a serious upgrade.
Oh
for them.
no! Do you think
No.
that there's a reindeer cult that is like breeding like reindeer to, like make sure there's more psychoactive compounds in the urine to just like really just like make it potent and like a saturated kind of like tincture?
But do the reindeers produce it, or is it an accumulation from stuff they're eating?
I would imagine the latter, but I have not looked into it, oddly enough.
So, actually, yeah.
Never thought we would come here today.
Yeah, this took quite a turn towards.
Oh
the
yeah,
end.
right at the end, the final hour.
I asked very early and I didn't get an answer. Now it's.
Oh, okay. I figured it out. So I guess the reindeers eat fly agaric mushrooms. So they eat toxic mushrooms that they're able to digest, and then that gets unmetabolized in the pee, and then that just is able to be consumed by us. So I guess we do need some, no pun intended, magic mushrooms.
We got that. Maybe they're
God.
coordinating with the guys down here. It's a whole.
Mm-hmm.
whole
If
I
you're the
think the
hippies, that makes
reason-
sense.
I think the reason the reindeer urine area hasn't been grabbed by either side yet is because there's like 100-year-long war on who gets to have it.
Oh, that is the war.
Yeah.
Yeah, exactly. You fools thought it was about a schism. Nah.
Okay, so a quick reminder to everyone before because I want to say this before we get into the final bits, because I'm not entirely sure how this is going to go.
Mhm.
This stream is going to live redirect to Artifact Scene's channel where we're going to have music building. I've never done this before, so I don't know what's going to happen. My plan is we're just going to stay on stream until the cutoff and see if it magically, like, if it cuts off our stream or switches over. I don't know if we have to end this stream for it to switch over. I assume we will, so we'll cut off like exactly at 3 because I don't want to cut into Artifactian time. Yes, that's you in the chat. Artahuvi. So yes, that's what's gonna happen. I also just want to say real quick that I thought this was very fun. This is very fun. Thank you everyone for participating. Does anyone want to volunteer to attempt to do a mad 5-minute recap or less of what we've got so far?
Oh boy.
We could do a mad hot potato version where you ramble out as many things as you can remember and then pass the hot potato to the next person.
Yeah.
I started taking notes.
Go.
Okay.
I didn't really keep taking notes.
There's elk fighting and running into each other.
Mm-hmm. But the elk were introduced by a foreign empire from across the sea that lived in a tropical archipelago that does not appear on this map.
Mm-hmm.
Somewhere over here. Or no, probably like way, whatever.
Mm-hmm.
My little faction is the red one.
There's 14 bandit cults.
Yeah. Two warring factions, tentative peace, recovering society. There's blight in the Rye. No one ever mentions it ever again. The river valley is there. There's forest and hills. They all are high on some form of substance. They are at a 16th to 17th century level of industry, but they haven't really done much with it. I'm assuming because of the aforementioned psychedelics. It's a cold continent. There was a glacial dam flood. It was probably penance for all the psychedelics. They have access to iron. They have a bunch of cults.
Colonized, and then the colonizers said, "No, we don't want this anymore."
They overpowered the colonizers with their psychedelics. It is their greatest power and their greatest weakness.
Did we ever even decide what their food staples are?
Rye.
We just skip right past that to their all right, it's rye.
Rye and alpine foxtail.
Exactly. And the reason they're mad is because of the blight in the rye. That means they can't make rye beer. Therefore, they are down one toxin to consume. Many gods. Water god, harvest war god, god of water 2, electric boogaloo, multiple snake gods. Also the blight. It's still happening.
Yeah.
Yeah. Don't let them know there's other water gods. They'll get mad.
That's also snow camels and snow primates.
Yeah.
And a few Gomphotheres.
Dumpster pandas.
I like the Gomphotheres.
Yes. Some procyonids knocking around. Hyenas, some domesticated, some not domesticated. Both bone-crushing and dog-like representatives. Can't remember what else I said. Yeah, that's pretty good.
Yeah.
All right. Everyone go to Edgar's stream and make sure to ask him how one would make an ode to elk jousting.
Yes.
What is the musical anthem of our reindeer pee drinking people or elk urine drinking people?
And remember, kids, drugs are bad.
Yes. So after this, music building. After that is clothing, world building, which is on Hannah's channel. I'll be joining Hannah for that.
Yeah, it's gonna be us too.
Yes, it'll be epic. We're gonna draw things very, very well. And then after that is back to my channel with Bib with Pillar World Bio. And then after that is on to Red Quill Map Making's channel for, I believe that's the naming things in fantasy maps. very exciting. We have a whole 45 more seconds, people. I'm trying to think of anything in the chat. All gods are psychedelic gods. Harvest god is the munchies.
Yeah.
Yeah.
We'll learn to draw. Someone had to focus on something else for a bit and they feel like they missed something. If you weren't here in the last 10 minutes, you have no idea what's happened.
We really did a lot of last minute building.
We did. Okay. I'm gonna end this in like 15 seconds. Everyone say goodbye.
Goodbye.
Bye, everybody. Thank you for coming. Okay, wait, we have 6 more seconds. 5, 4, 3. I don't know if it actually matters that I click right on time, but end stream.